Go over here and torture Cheech with the new camera.
What's going on, guys? We're starting our show live. There we go.
This isn't your typical motorsports podcast. You're listening to Crush This, a monster truck podcast presented by High Octane Coffee and J Concepts. A show where we take you inside the minds of your favorite drivers, past and present, of the monster truck industry. And now, your hosts, Brad Shaw and Dan Cheech Agosh. Buckle in. The show starts now.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Cheech live at the Hall of Fame. We're just talking around. If you guys can hear me, that's awesome. Sorry about there's like delay or anything like that, but everyone's just hanging around, just having a good time, and going from there. If we got all sorts of different people throughout the whole night. If you hear background noises, it's just everyone talking. If you guys can hear me pretty good, just let me know. And go from there. You know, video work and stuff like that are going on, and you know, this is a cool event. If anyone has a chance to do building, is everything that you can see, and it's all sorts of people just eating, talking. You know, it's an interesting time. So I know I got a few people on here. We'll take a look. We also got video footage going on there. Nice on never before seen. What's up, Gregory? How's it going? Yeah, man, we're just hanging out here. International Hall of Fame in Butler, Indiana. Next week, I want to let you guys know next week's guest. He is the guy who's right now rebuilding the Bigfoot Ranger. So we'll have him on.
First time I started driving in 2 years. Yeah, because they took my license because of what happened. The conjunction requiring circuit on it, so
let me go back here. You can hear all the people throughout here too. I'll get more information, but he'll be on for next week. You know, so we'll go from there. You know what? Our first little guest. Hey, Alan. What's going on? I'm doing a live remote right now.
Look at that.
Yeah, you're live right now on my podcast. Last time we had him on, we had him at we did the audio one, and if you go check out his YouTube, what is Monster Old School Monster Life. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've been following it, and a lot of changes been going on with the earthquake. Normally, I have a question to ask you about the RII. Okay. You did a video about that.
Yes.
And the MTRA, and a couple of years back was talking about with Dave Reif and stuff like that. Compared to, has anyone else also using the same format so you can use the RII, or you right now you're kind of the one that's doing the RD work?
Yeah, there's two different ones that Nathan has built, the guy that actually builds it. They have the Granite radio, which is what I have, and then they have they call it the Monster RII, which is compatible with all of the Birch and Mud radios.
Okay.
Sickness has the Monster, and Earthquake has the Granite. And I've used them all, and there's no comparison. These things are bar none the best radios out there. As far as reliability, we had problems with moisture messing up the old radio in Sickness, and it was just a problem every time it was muddy or raining at the track. With the new radio, it doesn't care. It just works every time.
Oh, nice. And you've been having a pretty busy 2021. You've been driving Sickness. I remember you talking to me at Green Bay back in 19.
Yeah.
And now you're kind of slowly taking over, or
It's
a work in progress?
Yeah, pretty much. Mark has done 68 shows with the truck this year. Between Earthquake and Wicked Sickness, I have done 58 shows. I
know you did recently, the North Carolina State Fair in Raleigh.
Yeah, and I drove both trucks in the same show. And as fun as that sounds,
are you gonna try to learn how to do so you can have Allen versus Allen? Except for the Allen that you clone may have a side effect where he may go left.
Right. No, I ran both trucks in Miami, but there was a lot more running back and forth.
Pretty soon, if you keep up that, you might as well sign up to do that athletic go from UT, so you're already training already.
Right.
But I mean, that's pretty cool. You have two different platforms, and people are getting to see two different sides of it. Even though, Earthquake can fill in as a competitive monster truck if you wanted to race it against. I mean, Rambo did it. For how long? Until maybe the early 2000s, it's still a competitive truck against other monster trucks. I mean, have you ever think about if it needed to be a filler truck to do that?
Absolutely. In fact, next year will be a lot more interesting because we have some power upgrades we're making to Earthquake. We're also bringing out Magnitude next year, which is the other old school monster truck.
That's the Mustang, right?
It's the Mach 1 Mustang.
How's that going? I remember you did a video about the Mustang that you were doing, but I didn't see any more up-to-dates.
The channel and everything has suffered this year. My computer crashed, and it's a bunch of footage that I had on it.
No.
And then with how busy we were the rest of the season, I barely had time to pick up a camera, let alone shoot.
2022 is around the corner.
Yep. So I may even hire a person to do it for me.
It's a lot of work,
Well, I'm driving two different haulers. I'm driving two different trucks. Crunching on everything. Still trying to run the shop. And I'm one guy.
And Tiffany's on your case.
She's right over there.
going on here. I guess we're still live. Sorry about that. I don't know. I'm using building internet, so I mean it crumbles, but try my best. If not, it's gonna be a short episode and I just get out of here. But and learn from it. I went to AT&T to get the mobile hotspot here. And I guess it's just as bad as everything else.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
I tried their MiFi. It lasted about 30 minutes before I threw it out the door.
Oh, really?
Like, literally.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm so hard on equipment.
Man, you're the best.
That's mine.
Sorry about that. When the screen goes black, can you guys still hear me? And they're showing green. How you doing, man? Oh, doing good, doing good. For Topper. But there's a crap. It's pretty cool. How do you building and everything like that?
I wasn't sure what to expect, to be honest, but I'm digging it. It's not as big, obviously, as the other place, but
it's their own though. That's
that's exactly
the cool thing. It's they're not renting it for anyone else. It's just
no more bingo Nazis kicking us out on Friday night.
Yeah, or Saturday night because we had a Saturday afternoon.
Saturday afternoon, yep.
Because we had to clean up everything for them to do the bingo, and now it's what is it it's like a mall type deal now or something like that. No Batmobile or anything like that.
No, it's like an auction hall venue thing that got going. They just hosted an auction where Gas Monkey, the guy from Gas Monkey, can't think of his name.
Richard Rollins?
Yes. He bought a collection up in Michigan and brought it down to the old museum to get sold to auction off.
Oh, okay. All right.
They're making money.
Yeah, man. Here, all right.
Thanks
Thank
a
you.
lot.
Yeah, have a good one. That's wicked sickness and also earthquake. That's some pretty cool stuff. We got a bunch of people here. Mike Nichols over there. Let's see here. Jason Rono's over there. Mark Bendler. When the screen's black, can you guys still hear me? I'm sorry. So I thought I got some hotspot internet, but it does just as bad than anything else, There's Matt Schultz, who's over there eating lunch. Joey. There's a bunch of stuff going on here, There's Mr. Joey Sylvester. How you doing, sir?
What's up?
Just chilling.
Oh, we're even on video.
Yep, on
You
YouTube
come
and
over
Facebook.
here. You look better than me.
How you been, man?
Good, man.
How's your collar?
It's been a busy year. Oh, it's good. I got another sweet scar. I got some more hardware in there.
Nice.
So
have you tested yet that when weather's coming?
Oh, I don't have to test nothing. It definitely reminds you, especially this one's a lot closer to the surface than the one in my arm is. So yeah, you definitely feel it.
But that's the nature of the game. I mean, with biking, sometimes it's.
That's exactly it, man. That's exactly it. She's just glad that it's not my profession anymore.
Okay. So how was your 2021 season? How was Canfield?
Good,
I saw that on YouTube, and we were promoting that earlier. But
it went
the
awesome,
event
man.
Awesome.
It went awesome. Everybody had a good time. Everybody enjoyed being a part of it. Compliments from fans, drivers, crew. I mean, sponsors. Everybody was happy. I'm really, really stoked on the outcome. It was a lot of work, and we're doing it again next year, and that shows really a good example of the vision that we have for the Outlaw Monster Truck Drags of what we want to do in the future. I feel there's not enough emphasis placed on racing anymore, and I think there's room in the sport to do that without taking away from freestyle. I want people to be straight 2 hours enthralled with the show. I don't want them to be watching racing going, is it time for freestyle yet?
It's nonstop.
Like, I want it to be exciting. Alan Pizzo just now and was showing me a picture like they was that close, man. Like I was like, for somebody like him that's been there, done that, done hundreds of shows, to be stoked on that.
You lit a
and
candle.
be excited about it. That tells me that we're doing the right thing because fans were excited about it. Drivers were excited about it. It was a fun track to drive. And I've got so many ideas for tracks. So we're going to keep progressing. It's baby steps.
Yeah.
You know, it's
How
in
do you
its
feel about
infancy.
How do you feel about Colton getting
Oh, I'm
Andy's
stoked,
new
dude. I
truck?
told him, I said, dude, every single show that I do next year, you got a spot in it if you want it. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see. From a technical standpoint, I'm excited to see because I know he's going to run hard. I want to see what somebody that runs a truck really hard in freestyle does with those big shocks that are on there. I've been really curious about how those work and stuff like that because I've never seen that anybody, at least that I've seen, like drive the way he does, the aggressive style that he drives. So I'm excited to see that too. But he's going to be great. He's going to be awesome.
So any game plans for next year for going back to West Virginia or?
That's up in the air. That's up in the air. We might go back there. The turnout wasn't real good for some reason. So we'll see. I mean, the track owner is a friend of mine. So obviously we want him to succeed too. So we'll see. We'll see. It's an awesome venue. It's a really awesome venue. If we get a little bit more dirt and stuff, we could definitely build a real outlaw track there.
Looks like you have room.
Yeah, it's got plenty of room. It's a huge infield. And there's potential to have 15,000 people at that venue with all the different seating arrangements they have. So there's definitely room to grow. I'm not trying to book too many shows just because I don't have a full staff, that's running the outlaw drags. I don't want to get in over my head. Plus, I'm still driving.
Yeah.
So I just want to, do the few shows that we're going to do well, that we're experienced with, and focus on growing the series and the tracks and stuff like that.
Seems like the Canfield show was pretty awesome. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, everybody had a good time, man.
Nice.
It was a great product in the end.
Mm-hmm. So coming up, 2000. What's going on with the Bad Habit?
Actually, we've got. I mean, for a lot of people that we did shows for this year wants us back next year, so the schedule is going to look very similar to what it did this year. At least thus far, it does. We're starting up in February. It's looking like down in Texas. We're also trying to book Mayhem a lot. I don't believe in trying to run Bad Habit every single weekend because I don't want to go out there and be running myself ragged to where the track performances suffer. I'd rather it helps week in and week out. It's already looking like a pretty busy year, just like this year was.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's pretty cool. How do you like this Hall of Fame? How do you like the building?
It's awesome, man. It's really cool.
I saw you just donated the world record jump body.
I did. My fire suit's over there too, and they get to hang that up. The Guinness book is over there that shows the picture of the jump, and I sent them some video, or I put on a USB all the video from the jump, so they could let that loop on a TV and stuff. So it's really cool.
Actually, we have a question here also from Morgan's last name, but he was wondering if you're going to plan on any works on.
Actually, I contracts and stuff like that yet for next year, but that is one of the shows where they wanted us to be in Miami this year, but I had already had a show booked that weekend when he had asked me to do it. So we'll be doing Springfield and then Miami. It's all for the O'Reilly Outlaws tour.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've never been to Miami, Oklahoma.
Oh, that's cool. Well, continuing on about you donated your world record. You have your the video that you on USB, being part of the nostalgia, the history of the museum and stuff. How is it putting your name in there? You know what I mean?
Oh man, I'm stoked. One, it started telling me I could have something in the fame, but no, it's truly an honor because it's sitting right behind Scott Hess's Hercules. So when I was looking at that, I was like, "This is bad." Right on the wall behind his truck. I'm like, "That's sweet. That's sweet." So definitely, it really hit me until I saw it hanging there. I took pictures of it, and Taurus is right next to it. So it's awesome. This is such a cool place. I've just try to take it all in, walk around and see all the pictures and stuff. And I always tell everybody our sport has such a rich and awesome history, you know, and there's so many stories that are untold and people that have no idea where it came from and the stuff that these guys engineered back in those days with nothing to go off of. Like it's to say, hey, I need this, and that. We just bolt together a badass truck. These guys had to just like figure it out like as they went, and they had no idea, and they didn't have social media to say, oh, I saw that Cheech is building this, maybe we ought to do it this way. And you had that instant, you didn't know what the other guys were going to do until you showed up at the show.
That hurt. Maybe we should fix that.
Well, you had no one else to base on. Like they call each other on the phone and like explain what they're doing to their truck. Like you didn't know what your competition was doing till you got to the show.
And that's the cool thing about how, like you talked about that. Obviously, Bigfoot 8 was completely different than Taurus 3.
Oh, it was
and
on
Fred
another level.
Schaefer's barefoot with the front feet,
Yeah.
like the I'm trying to think of the word. The diversity was
diversity. They know that was what was so cool. I think about the history of our sport. You know, you look at the trucks now, and all of our trucks are very similar. I don't want to say they're cookie cutter, but there's not a lot out there right now that somebody's like, wow, like I've never seen anything done like that before.
Maybe the X-Max truck.
From an engineering, yes, that is wild. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, from an engineering standpoint, it's pretty rare to see something that you haven't already seen. So, and I think that's because the sport has leaned so far towards freestyle that it's became a game of survival. Let's build this as big and as heavy as we possibly can so it'll hold up. Mm-hmm. It's gotten away from guys figuring, how can we make this lighter, stronger, and faster to beat the other guy? You know, so maybe with what we're doing with the Outlaws, I don't know, maybe long term, it'll bring some of that ingenuity back, that evolution to where guys start going back in that direction of making trucks a little bit lighter and horsepower and axles and suspension, trying to make the trucks go that much faster, but then they're still going to have to freestyle too. So
here's the thing. Your original Bad Habit truck today, what is the weight gap between the two trucks?
A lot. We haven't weighed Bad Habit Relapse yet, but I would estimate it's north 13,000 without a doubt.
So you're hauling the mail with a 13,000-pound monster truck.
It's stupid heavy. And I feel like as good as the truck looks from the outside when it lands, it don't feel that good when it lands. And I can't quite figure it out. It's got to be because it just weighs so damn much. So, you know, but we've got big axles. We've got 2,200 pounds by itself. Everything is big and heavy, you know, and the truck holds up very, very well. I mean, it performs well too. But I do wish it was a little bit lighter. But the old Bad Habit, before we had to really get involved with a lot of driveline tethers and big heavy wheel tethers and stuff, and when I had King shocks on it, it weighed 9,000 pounds, 9,200 pounds it weighed with 6-ply Goodyears on it. And I think in the form that it's in now, when I sold it to Jerry, it's probably just a little bit north of 10. So still, it's right around that 10,000.
But you were starting to learn that the direction the monster trucks were going.
Well, you had to, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of.
But I just want everybody.
Oh my God, it's Mike Wise. Oh, yes, I love you too. Crazy old man.
Still driving.
I know.
That's awesome. But still, I mean, like you said, that you saw actually the direction was going with the older trucks. So sooner or later, the chassis was going to take abuse with heavier parts.
I'm actually really surprised at how well that chassis held up. I think they're like Jerry just sent me a picture. They're just now cutting the cradle off and bottom half of the wall tubing. Now they're like the new Bad Habit Relapse. There's no 120 wall anywhere in it. It's 134 wall all the way up to 250 wall. It's super heavy. You know, like I always tried to keep my old truck lightweight, but I think, you know, being away from the sport for a few years like I was and then coming back, when I drove for Waters during first quarter for Monster Jam, and I saw firsthand where the sport has elevated to in the high demands of freestyle and just how well chassis, work company chassis and stuff like that. I was like, man, I should probably kind of stick to this, getting back in after being out for a little while. I probably shouldn't try to reinvent the wheel, you know? But man, doing what we're doing now and then like going back and like reading Marty Garza's book of how they evolved Bigfoot 8 into 9 and Taurus, and then Fred Schaefer's innovations and my God, Marty's innovations with extreme overkill. And like, it makes me want to go build something new and lighter, you know? So who knows? It's not going to happen anytime soon, but I want to build a Pro Mod next. I really want to build a nasty, like 6,000 horsepower or sub 6,000, not horsepower, like 6,000 pound truck for our Pro Mod class. Cause, those things are just, they're kind of the opposite.
You call it nasty habit.
Yeah, they're going lighter to make their stuff faster, and you know,
bigger motor and
so
flying through the air. But hey, Joe, thank you so much,
absolutely,
man.
you guys, you enjoy the show here.
I'll try. That was Joe Sylvester and the Bad Habit. Recently married too, so that's pretty cool stuff going on there. And there's everyone just hanging out over here. They just got married a few weeks ago, so thank goodness the internet's holding up. I'll tell you that much. The internet's been going up and down for a little bit, but still there's footage in the background, you know, and some old school footage and stuff like that. Got Eric bouncing on the table and stuff like that. Bouncing all over the place. But he's here too. Kodiak and stuff like that. So Mark Bendler's over there also. Yeah, there's a bunch of people here too. Who's the guy that's going to be on there? So what's going on, Mark? Sit down. I'm doing a live remote. Yeah, I'm doing a live remote. Mark Bendler, Hall of Famer, driver, owner.
How y'all doing?
How's it going, man?
Good. How about you?
Oh, hang in there, getting ready for Hank. So.
Oh my goodness.
How almost a whole year, 2022 is already.
I'll thank you when I'm sitting in front of my fireplace and you're trying to get down the highway in a snowstorm.
Oh my, thanks. I'll try to see over the driving the.
Yeah, there you go.
Man, last time we had our interview a few months ago, and it was pretty cool to talk about, you know, the history and stuff like that with the Kodiak. What monster truck in the world right now, I think, is the oldest running. And I think I mentioned about the Big Pete. That was your 89 truck, wasn't
87.
it? 87. Okay.
Yep, that had the square body on it, and then we rolled it over in Slinger, and then rebodied it with the 89 body. And Big Pete's still out there running. So, the chassis was built in 87.
Like I said, I mean, how is it knowing that your work is still contributing, I guess, in the monster truck world?
It's kind of crazy to think that they're still running that thing and it's still staying together and everything else. I guess when Mama sent me to welding school, I did okay.
And how do you like the Hall of Fame and you know, the new building? And
it's beautiful. We were here in May for the grand opening, and these guys really put a ton of work into this place. If you haven't been here, you got to come here and see it. And we even brought some trinkets. I cleaned up the shop and still had some pieces laying around, and I thought, bring this stuff down here. And
there's a photo my dad showed me. 1993, November. You were there at Hampton Coliseum.
Yes.
It was the front four-link one. And I was there as a little kid. We always say it was like the Dennis Anderson special. It was, I don't know who was the promoter, but Dennis was the headliner. And then, I think in that event, Carolina Crusher was there, and you were there. I think the Bree brought that new up-to-date Mad Dog. Remember that Mad Dog monster? I just want to let you know, I have a photo of you facing Wild Hair. It was no dirt. It was straight concrete show.
Yeah. Actually, that was Rob's chassis. That was the First Blood chassis. That was right after I bought it. And if I remember right, Dennis blew up his motor.
And they brought a second truck.
Yep. he blew up the motor, and yeah, we were blasting cars wide open, and I actually ended up bending the front housing in that because it wasn't trussed good enough, and I went back and we actually built new housings and retrussed them and everything else.
It was the biggest field in that arena. It was like 10 trucks. And
yeah, Stanley Torgerson did those shows back then.
You guys are full boogaloo, the words from Army, but it was between, photograph. Yeah, the reason why I got confused is because I still think it had the other body, the 80.
It had the same body.
Yeah,
the same glass body. We just transferred.
That was
over.
Also, gosh, I'm probably like 5 or 6, so I.
Gee, thanks. You made me feel really old right now.
But still, it's cool to see that, you know what I mean? And seeing all these trucks and stuff like that, have you had a niche to maybe try to do a recreation of one of your trucks, or, you know?
You just never know what could happen, I guess.
Have you been curious on knowing your past chassis on, obviously the Big Pete, but on about the double,
I think people would love to see that double stack frame, the one with the blue frame that was really tall, recreated. The problem is hauling that truck. I had to have a custom built trailer. We had to take the light bars off it. It was quite a handful to haul around. So it would be cool to recreate it. I don't know that's where I'm at.
My personal favorite would be the silver and blue one that you ran like in Pontiac Silverdome, I think in '88.
Yep, 88.
You won that event, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, that was that one, and then the one after with the multicolor one I thought was probably my favorite one. I wouldn't mind seeing that as recreated, you know. Seeing these Aces Highs for sale.
Yep, I see that. Yeah, and that's funny because I brought back memories too of that video. I see it all over all the times, and other people posting on some of the Facebook forums that final race between me and him and whatnot. But yeah, you just never know. Maybe that '87 truck will get recreated. You just never know.
I never know. It seemed like the older I get, the more importance of never say never comes to life.
Very true. Very true. You just never know.
Just never say never. But this is such an awesome feel. I am thinking about getting one of those Monsteramas. Your signature photograph so when I'm doing my normal show, your picture's on the left-hand side of it.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
With Overkill, Gravedigger, and Aces High, and stuff like that, and the giant skull bandit too on the one corner. So, man, it was a pleasure talking to you.
Excellent.
I'll talk to you more this weekend.
We'll be here. You guys got to make it down here.
We'll do. Awesome. Thank you again. I learned the Kodiak. Pretty cool stuff. And then Mike Wine was waving at me for something, and I don't know where he went, but there he is. No, you should bring it. Yeah, go ahead. See the footage in the background. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. We're having all sorts of people coming over and stuff like that. It's pretty cool to have. I actually have another guest from the Monster Truck Review, and I was trying to do the whole, not the Blues Brothers. Remember the Blue Brothers review and stuff like that? It's Matt Schultz.
Oh, let me get in here. What's happening, Cheech? How you doing?
Doing good. Have people coming by. Mark Miller, Joe Sylvester, Alan was there. Mixture of everything. Josh says he knows that guy, so I'm blurring him out. Man, how is it working with Josh? And if everyone is on right now, explain a little bit about the podcast that you're part of.
Okay, so we do the Retro Monster Truck Review. It comes out every Friday. It's a pre-recorded show. Josh has a different host every week. I'm kind of the de facto co-host when he can't find someone else to help out.
Well, he's doing a lot of episodes, but I'm not complaining about whatsoever.
We take a look at old monster truck events, most of them that were televised, and we go through and kind of analyze the show, tell the story behind what happens, and let's
go a little bit picking your brain here.
Okay.
So Josh and you talk about episode.
Yeah.
So what type of, I guess not investigating, but research do you do into the program to know some stories a little bit behind, or even know a little bit what's going on. Because I mean, that would be terrible if saying, "Hey, I do Pontiac 1991," and you're gonna be like Pontiac, and then you don't do anything, and you just wing it.
Right.
When I did my first episode with him at Hampton Roads 88, I did research knowing that it was Dennis's thing and first show for USA One, knowing that it's actually technically the second show of that truck.
Right.
The story about the aviation, jackets, different insights. But there's you got to know what you're talking about. You just can't shoot the dart.
Yeah, we do a lot of research. A lot of it actually comes from here this weekend. We get a lot of stories from the drivers, a lot of the crew people that worked in the industry, promoters. We get a lot of those seed stories that kind of fills in the blanks of what we see on TV. We'll ask questions, stuff that I know that I've had to discuss maybe someday. On top of that, with the back catalog of all this stuff you can view on YouTube now, it really helps to kind of piece things together in the story of the seasons a lot of times.
Now, the latest episode, I believe, me and Nathan were driving around back here, and it was guys found different footage plus home video from the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Help you guys do more research on that stuff. So, pretty much, are you for instance, a Bowling Green monster truck show from '89. They had power tracks and then tough tracks and then trucks and track power. You bought all 3 episodes yet, or is it just based off of quality?
Usually, 9 times out of 10, I'm the tough truck same time I can get. That's my favorite show. But we do watch all the different versions that they're available. We sit down and we take notes. Josh and I generally do this independently first, because we do it different days of the week. And I'll sit down and I'll pull up old newspaper listings from the events. I subscribe to a bunch of online archives, and that's how I do a lot of my research. I take any information I can get, information about the venues. We try to give a background of the venues where we're racing at that day. It's the first time we've been there. Try to tell the whole story of the event, maybe events leading up to it, what happened after. But we do a lot of research. My show prep each week, usually about 5 to 6 hours between watching the show, taking notes, detailed notes of what's happening, and looking at the show more through a critical eye rather than just the entertainment value in a lot of cases.
Now, I give you guys much respect because of how you guys do your stuff. Like, for instance, you do an hour program for Tough Tracks. But a few episodes ago, you guys did the Pittsburgh Monster Jam, which is a magazine-style program. So it's very cool how much information you got for a review program, because everything they're doing in the hour-long program is now. The MIJ version of the magazine program, you're doing it past.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that also has to go with a different mindset too, right?
I love doing those kinds of shows because there's so much to cover. We've got information from all these different events that they're slamming into a half-hour broadcast. And Scott Douglas was talking recently on his podcast about doing that IMJ show. He said it's the only show he ever did where you're calling things as they happen in past tense. And it was a little bit different thing for him, which is really cool. So I love doing the IMJ show. I hope, Josh, I know you're out there watching. I hope we get to do more of them in the future. And we'll it's one of my favorite shows on TV. It's one thing we grew up with.
You guys should do the San Diego one when they use the U.S. Off-Road Challenge, where each truck had a different color flag.
Yeah, all 4 trucks.
Yeah,
on the track at once.
Barefoot, and Bigfoot. They had like red, yellow. It was like a modern-day Mario Kart. I was about to see some bananas flying out of nowhere.
I remember watching that when I was a kid. And I was like, oh man, there's like 4 trucks on the track at a time. It's like a video game, and it was the coolest thing to watch.
Remember the video game Monster Truck Challenge?
Oh yeah,
on NES. That reminded me of that game so much, even though it wasn't really. I mean, it was.
What Monster Truck Rally?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Monster Truck Rally. Yeah, and it had the ramps that go like this.
Yeah, you had poles you drive around and swim it like pits of water,
and let you go backwards when the ramp comes outside. Of that, you're an avid RC racer too.
Indeed, yes.
And we do a lot of episodes with different RC racers. We had Jason on one time, Mike Fodders Jr. and stuff like that. But for a guy that, for me, I'm in the Trigger King domain, but you're mostly the East Coast area, but you travel all the time too.
Yeah.
how not just monster.
I do. I race primarily carpet off-road racing. That's kind of what's hot in the Pittsburgh area. We have 2 carpet tracks that are indoor. They run all year round. So that's where I do a majority of my racing. And then whenever I can, I try to get out and do the monster truck stuff too. Been doing it for, 16 years now, half my life. So it's been a rewarding hobby. It's something that's a lot of fun. And we get to do it as much as we possibly can.
Man, I'm right now going to go live and take some advice from Matt here. I'm going to start next week is my open Hall Brothers open house, but I'm running my own events.
Mm-hmm.
You also run an event, the Monster Cross.
Yes.
Is there any feedback or anything that you can give me advice to help out, or just run with the chicken head cut off?
Do whatever it takes to keep people out on time, and they'll be happy.
Okay.
That's the big thing. Keeping like a real monster truck show. Show flow really matters. So, like at our race, we always try to make sure that we're done before dinner time. Let the people that are here to experience the event spend time with their friends and not be stuck in the pits all weekend working on their stuff. Give them some time to relax and have fun. Get them out early. Give people a ton of track time at Monster Cross because it's a little different than a lot of the other events. We're doing kind of off-road track racing with the monster trucks, and it's a very unique thing that kind of originated in our area in Pittsburgh.
Well, yeah, for my event is Saturday only, from
Right.
like 9:30 to 5 or 6.
Oh, perfect.
And then I set up where people can stay the night and leave on Sunday. I think maybe a couple guys want to do a little fun run Sunday.
There you go.
We may do that. Just
Something you can grow with. I'm hoping I can make it out to there next year for sure.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. Trying to grow it. Trying to do as much as I can because
Yeah.
I don't want to. You hate it if you drove from like 6 or 7 hours and then you're trying to look for a hotel.
Oh,
and no
yeah.
one's trying to. That was the first thing I did was try to get connected to all the hotel people.
Yeah.
And
That's good.
Try to get a safe haven, saying if you just mention the event, you'll get a rate, and then
Right.
stay put. They have tons of room and everything like that. Take advantage of it. They're trying to provide these racers, and then you have all the Chris Warnick. That's area mentioned about how cool basically you try to get basically every racer to bring home something.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
donations from
Send the people home happy.
you gotta do that.
Yeah.
And I was trying to do that also.
Hey,
And
man, you're on the right track for sure.
because then you get more people. Because then the word spread out saying,
Yeah.
you know what, I won this and that, and I brought home a big old box of stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, okay, I'll get it. Come over and
You and I both race. You know that not everybody can win every weekend on the track. So if you can find a way that they can win off the track, that really makes everybody happy.
yeah, that's cool. So how do you like this? I mean, you've been here a few times, haven't you?
I've been here every year. Wouldn't miss it for the world.
Right. So compared to the one in Auburn, how do you feel about the new building? And gathering going on. How does it make you feel seeing this?
The new building is awesome. It's a little more intimate than the old place. The old place in Auburn was kind of cavernous. A little more room for everybody to spread out, but
going to have to get rushed out with the bingo night too.
that's true. Yeah, we've got the permanent residency here now. So the new place here in Butler is just awesome. We're kind of over in the corner of the reception hall side of the building here, which is really cool. If you're in the Indiana area, you're looking to have an event, make sure you check these guys out to book because they can make this completely separate from all the monster truck stuff. They've got a big divider, which is cool. And then all the monster truck stuff that we're looking at behind the camera here, there's trucks all through the building. You can't beat it.
Even a tank.
And we've a tank. We've got a gift shop with all kind of real unique merchandise and stuff that you can't get anymore that they have in there. Old hero cards and all kind of stuff. So it's a really cool experience. If you can come out here to Butler, Indiana, do it. It's worth the trip.
Right on. Like I said, even though I work for the Hall Brothers, we're pretty much close. I'm from the West Virginia Northern Panhandle area, so
not far away.
Not far away at all.
We were in shows together, not even knowing it when we were kids.
yeah. Hearing stories and everything like that, And Pittsburgh has some rich tradition. Western Pennsylvania, Eastern Ohio area, and then you say Wheeling too, because Wheeling was a home for Thunder Nationals. Mainstay, and Pittsburgh was really strong with Monster Jam, but then you have Eastern Ohio with Alan Tura, and then Lone Ranger and all that stuff. And knowing about later on the rich history that we have over there, not just the Missouri or the North Carolina or the West Coast, but the history of monster trucks in that area.
Monster trucks have a big history in that kind of tri-state area of Ohio, PA, West Virginia. The guys from Ohio, as you mentioned, there's a number of trucks that have come out of the greater Pittsburgh area. I bought a card from the gift shop today of Tiny Tank, so Andy Kotubi's truck. I'm going to try to get that out to him to get signed. Hopefully, that was really
question:
cool.
Have you talked to your wife about purchasing Aces High?
No, I don't have that in the budget. I think that's more of a Mike Krieger type of thing. Angela, let him go buy that one. He deserves it.
Yeah, still, that was one of our flagship trucks.
It was. He was in the Pittsburgh area, and surprisingly, didn't do many. I think he only did one USHRA show in Pittsburgh. Did a lot of displays and car shows and stuff, but he was all over the country, Jake was.
I'll tell you what, I was born in Virginia, so I got really close to the Hampton, that's the North Carolina area. For maybe the first 2 years of me watching monster trucks, he was there with the Valvoline Aces High truck.
Okay.
He was there more than, later on where I moved up the northern panhandle, West Virginia, and I didn't know for the longest time that Aces High was from that area until old footage, and I got a little bit older knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
And also there was pretty cool, remember the ride truck called the Americrush?
Yeah.
That was actually owned by some guy over in the Northern Panhandle that owned a bunch of Valvoline lube tech stations.
Interesting.
And then he didn't know how to market it. So he sold it.
Oh, geez.
He didn't know what to do with it. It was on display in Weirton, West Virginia. It was built by Dan Patrick.
Okay.
And it was a modern race truck, not race truck, but like
newer style ride truck.
Yeah. I guess he didn't know how to.
Couldn't make it work, huh?
Couldn't make it work, and
we've got the history though, and I'll tell you what, polling in our area, the Ohio group, and then you've got a lot of the superstars from US Hot Rod. We're from the greater Pittsburgh area. Bob Bauman and a bunch of those other guys. Gene Fanny, he's from Derry, PA, right up the road from where I work. So
don't forget.
Our of that industrial belt that kind of spurred a lot of the motorsports innovation back in the 60s and the 70s, and it went in through the beginning of Truckorama, which became US Hot Rod, and Pittsburgh was one of the original venues for Truckorama, and it just grew and grew and grew, and every year that they've had a show scheduled, there's been a show in Pittsburgh, and we're still continuing that on to this.
Outside that, family events with Canfield High L.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
They got the Big Butler Fair they do. Deal Wilson's been doing the Fayette County Fair since
Washington, PA.
like 1990. And even before that, they were racing monster trucks there. So we've got monster truck tour now in Youngstown. Shout out to Brian Manson and his company. Can't wait. They just released the lineup for that the other day, so I'm looking forward to February and getting to see those guys again.
And then Renegade Tour did some events.
Oh, Zane did his first Renegade event, our county fair, Westmoreland, PA in 2020. And boy, the amount that his operation has grown, it's really cool to see. I've been glad to go to a number of his shows this year. Brookville, we went to Franklin, got to see Scott Douglas announce live on the mic, which was cool. Get to see all these shows. I went to like 10 or 11 shows this summer, all within 2 hours of my house. In that Pittsburgh.
That's good for fuel, especially this situation.
And there was 3 or 4 that I missed still because I was out of town or at another race. So like, there's no shortage of monster trucks in our area, and I eat up all of it that I can get.
Man, that's awesome, Matt. Thank you for showing up.
Oh, man, no problem.
So is it every Friday a new episode?
Friday comes out. I think Josh puts them up like 5 a.m. Eastern time, and I usually hit the Facebook groups around 7 or 8 in the morning with the video links to go along with the podcast. So Retro Monster Truck Review on Spotify, iTunes, and I think on YouTube as well. Check it out. Right after you're done with Crush This, make sure you check out the Retro Monster Truck Review.
Newest episode, 1989 Indianapolis Hoosier Dome. Not the RCA Dome, Hoosier Dome.
That's the Hoosier Dome.
You guys had to let me know about that. But the one thing before we go, I do like how you guys do the past screen, not just monster truck related. You talk about the building itself too,
right? And
that's pretty cool about how you guys talked about, WrestleMania 8 and the Indianapolis Colts played there. I thought I always really liked that little tidbit.
Welcome to Butler.
Doing their little thing right
Oh,
now.
we're getting superseded here by the real show.
I know, right?
How awesome is it to see all the hard work?
Something might be happening here. Who
All
knows?
right. Oh, geez.
All right, Cheech. Well, I'll let you get back to it. It was great to be
All
on the
right,
show,
you too.
man. Thank you.
To see the result of that tonight.
So cool. This has been a year coming. A year ago, we was negotiating on this building. It was a little rough, but we knew it had a lot of potential. Had a lot of guys that worked really hard.
Hold on, guys. All right.
And pretty exciting to see us all.
A little talking going on, but you know what? Who cares? We're having a good time and everything like that. Just listening about that stuff. It's pretty cool stuff going on.
Well, we couldn't be happier to have all of you guys here for the first time as part of one of our induction ceremony events. But this is not the first event we've had this year. You guys, as soon as you got the building done and everything, you can actually see it on the banner over here.
There's Kurt.
The parade through Butler, the grand opening event, and the first monster truck.
Kurt Kramer,
It's been a big
driver
year.
of the ammunition. Any Hall Brothers truck you know in the man, he drove. He even drove the tank. What's going on? There, Kurt. What's going on, man? How's it going? And how do you like this right now?
Oh, this is really cool. This is a unique facility and a unique event. And I recommend any monster truck fan, old or new, come out to Butler, Indiana, come visit the museum, the Hall of Fame. I mean, if you're an old fan, kind of like I am, I mean, there's so much stuff that's preserved. There's so much stuff that I had, VHS tapes that I used to have and watch repeatedly, that the covers are still in good condition, and that's something that doesn't survive. You always toss the VHS tapes in the drawer or wherever you kept them, and they got all beat up and stuff. But I mean, they're in perfect condition, and I'd really like to take them out and watch them, and toys I had, toys I wanted are here. And it's really cool to see them in a museum case, and it kind of reminds me of how old I'm getting. But no, it's actually really cool. I recommend anybody come out to this. So.
No, pretty serious here. A pretty serious question here. Upcoming, you just released that the 2021 Monster Jam season.
Yeah.
You and Mark are in the Central whatever tour. That we're in, but outside of that, as a driver and everything like that, how outside of being physically impaired, how are you going to be mentally impaired for this long season?
This is going to be unlike any season that we've done before. Most intense and extensive schedule that I've ever been a part of, but we'll all get through it together as teammates and hopefully keep morale high. And I'm looking forward to taking racing. I've got a special training program that I've already just started initializing, getting myself ready for first quarter. I'm not going to take it very lightly. I'm taking racing seriously. And some of the other stuff we're going to try and just do, I'm going to do my best at, but racing's my focus, and I'm really excited for 2021.
That's cool. And you got one destination, Rosemont. That's your kind of your home track. You've been there since you've been a little kid. So, are you concerned about the local curse?
Yes, I'm so stoked. When Tim said, this is the proposed schedule at the time, and Rosemont's on there, and obviously piqued my interest because I went there as a kid. Consistently and through adulthood and through high school, I always went to Rosemont Horizon to see the monster truck show, no matter who was there. And obviously, it's always traditionally a monster jam venue, but no, it was really cool, and I'm excited to be able to race there. As you know, the last few years have been part of a corporate truck only triple threat series, but now it's just its own arena show. So I'm excited to go there and race. I really am. And I've had a little bit of the hometown curse, but I'm hoping with the right crew people and the right team we can shake that curse together. And in an ideal world, I want to take a racing win there.
the 2020 season was kind of cut short, and you did have, you were having motivation, momentum coming in. With you learning from the 2020 season, what are you trying to goals set for your 2021? The racing is one of it, but all about.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sorry.
We did have a good 2019, 2020 season. I thought, that was my personal best. I got to the finals. Got to the finals against Zach Gardner. He got by me. So that's and I get Zach Garner again on this tour. So there's a little retribution that I'm going for there. I don't know if you're watching, but hopefully we get each other. This isn't a call out, but this is just if we get each other, it's on, and that's the way it's going to be. So I'm going out for the win. Hopefully every time we go race. So it's a stacked lineup. I'm not going to put back anybody else. I mean, you got John Zimmer Jr., a driver I know very little about, but I'm anxious to meet him. Kristen Anderson, they have an opportunity to race her, and I had a unique finish racing against her also earlier that year in a standalone show. So rather unique finish. Somehow I finished with the rear tires first. I spun out near the finish line. But amongst those things, very, very stacked lineup. So I'm really excited.
All the stuff, like how do you like the atmosphere? And also, earlier you guys were doing the MTRA meeting too.
Yeah. Yep, the MTRA annual meeting and tech school was today. It was a long day. Learning about the safety aspect of our sport, which is really important. There was a lot of info to cover. Some new instances that we. It was an informative day, and if you guys want to get involved in the MTRA, you can sign up, become a member, and next year you can attend the tech school and apply for be a tech inspector yourself.
Oh, look at that! Everyone's clapping for Kurt. It's like, let's go, Brandon.
So now it's good being here with this podcast here. Cheech is here broadcasting live. So.
Oh man, thank you for coming. Walk around, enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
We found out that ticker doesn't mean anything. Look, it went 2 up. Look at that.
Yeah, because I'm hopping off. See how that's how it works. I hop off and the viewers go up. That's the most invisible guy in monster trucks, but it's all right.
Hey, catch them. The Monster Jam Tour, we're from January all the way to May.
Yeah.
So take a look at his Facebook page. He has we got our next guest here too. Look at that. Sit down. Tim Hall of future, actually inductee to the Hall of Fame. How you doing, Tim?
I'm good.
Good. How you like this? And
it's outstanding, isn't it? They did a great job. Jeff and Scott and all the guys that worked so hard on all this. I think they did a fantastic job. It's really cool. And if you haven't been here yet, you got to get here. It's really cool. You'll walk through, see all the trucks that they've got on display, the memorabilia, the collectibles, all of that stuff that's here, the gift shop. Really a lot of neat stuff. So it's a lot of memories for me, to come back and look at a lot of this stuff. It's really cool.
Did you ever thought that your brother bought a tank from a guy at Farmer City for $700?
Yeah.
And you lead to...
we got a photo bomb.
Lead from there to having pretty much a decorated monster truck team and one of the top in the nation with, having the luck of having, corporate backing also. And just did you ever expect that?
I didn't. Of course, we hoped. We started out, we thought we could do this. We thought, let's give it a try. We sure worked hard. We had a lot of good people that helped us along the way. All of our employees that we've got now and along the way that helped us. Never dreamed to take it this far, but and now the Hall of Fame, that's even, icing on the cake. But we're not done yet. We got a long ways to go.
Oh, yeah. Like when I talked to Curtis, we're on a long stretch with Monster Jam. Just the news release that Mark, and speaking about Mark's right there.
Yep.
Oh, Mark's right there if you want to say hi. Pop your head out. There's Mark Hall right here. How's it going? Tim's getting a Sharpie out.
There you go.
Pick your poison. Pick your poison. Yeah. But I mean, this is really mentally preparing for this stretch that we're having because Mark and Kurt just got added on to the Central Monster Jam tour.
Yep.
For me as a crew guy, gotta be mentally prepared because we have a long stretch and
Lots of shows.
They just added Raleigh to our schedule and they just released that too. So
and that was that was an off week, so now no more off week there. It's going to be intense, but we think we're prepared. We're ready. We'll pick our battles. We know it's a battle of attrition, in addition to attempting to win every week, of course. And we'll give it our best shot. But we've got Ram trucks behind us. We'll clean them up with hot seat power washers, and we'll see what we can do.
It's just wow. I'm gonna be trying to get ready to go. Nathan, and we're gonna try to do our best. And
we'll be all right. I think we're gonna be all right. We got good guys.
Mm-hmm.
Good people, good things happen.
Now, talk about earlier today. You guys had your annual MTRA meeting.
We did.
And let maybe people know if they're watching about the MTRA. And,
sure.
And
well, the MTRA, we slowed down a little bit with all the shows slowing down. That slowed us down a little bit. So the MTRA slowed down too. We're still active. Still got a lot of good members. Had a really good meeting today. Good turnout. That was really cool. We talked a little bit today about some of the dangers of used tires and being careful when not that you can't use used tires. Of course, it makes a lot of sense to buy a used tire if you're going to grind it down or buff it or whatever. But you got to make sure that you're getting a good one, the bead and all that stuff's in good shape. Obviously, there's been some accidents, and that was something that we discussed. We also discussed the problem that a lot of people seem to be getting a little lackluster on wheel maintenance as far as the lug nuts and the wheel studs. We talked about how we got to make guys more aware of fixing that problem. We talked about a little bit about what's inevitable, which will be like the Generation 3 Hemis, the LS engines, the Coyote engines that are going to ultimately end up. How do we integrate them? Where do they land on the spectrum of what horsepower we have? Where are they going to, how do we integrate those? So that was a good discussion and really good. I think we had a good meeting, good productive discussions, and I think it was good.
How do you feel about this atmosphere being fame, and how do you feel about that?
Well, it's pretty cool, pretty special. I don't know that it's fully sunk in yet. Seeing a lot of these people that have come here for the ceremony and for the gathering, that's pretty cool. And there's so many people, some old friends, guys that we hadn't seen in years that I've run across tonight already. So that was pretty special. And some of these old trucks that I haven't seen that we raced against for a long time. So that was pretty cool. Really special. I mean, really, really special time. Glad to be here. Very fortunate. Very lucky to get able to do what we do. And really fortunate that somebody's recognizing us for our efforts.
And also pretty exciting time for next week, too. You guys are opening the door for the public.
How about that? That'll be cool. I know you'll be there with the Trigger Kings, and that'll be neat. I think, our old shop there, it's nothing fancy, but it'll be fun for everybody to come and hang out. And I'm looking forward to it. I want to see those things race, and I'm looking forward to hosting everybody come out and have a good time. Come to the shop in Champaign, Illinois, and we'll have a good time.
Yep, we're at the merchandise trailer there.
Merchandise trailer
there. You
there.
can climb on the Raminator monster truck also.
You can. The photo truck will be set up. You can climb inside. You can register to win $75,000 towards the new truck. So all that'll be there. And I know Horizon Hobby is going to have some special stuff. You've got some special prizes and things along the line. So it should be a good time. Hope the weather holds, and we'll have racing's inside anyway. But if the weather's nice, we can do some things outside too. It'll be fun.
That's pretty cool. Well, Tim, thank you so much. All right.
It'll be good.
Awesome.
There's a lot of people to interview here. You got to get some more of these hats on.
Well, trying to at least.
Did you have Mike Wine on here yet?
I need to get him on here soon.
I'll get him. We got to get him on.
That was Tim Hall, president of Hall Brothers Racing, Raminator, Ramunition, Hotsy, all sorts of people. Yeah, whatever, Michael Harry. Oh, man. Yeah, good time right there. Sparing time. Little monster truck footage going on. Like I said, got Gene Patterson over there making faces. You know you gotta stop on by. Mr. Downhill Mike.
Yeah, hey, it's a party!
How many times this guy did TV interviews, and when no, you're doing a TV interview, and he's standing on the other side of the TV camera going,
That's what we're doing.
He
Yeah.
was doing that in the background.
Where's everybody at? You know,
right here.
I can't see you.
Man, we were watching. My coworker here, Nathan
Hey.
Smith, had a show. And
Hey.
he won the downhill something.
Yeah, 2-time Thursday night champion right here on Monster Truck Attitude. That's right. Cobra, Gene Patterson in the house. That's right. Yeah.
How you doing, Gene?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, hang in there.
Hey.
Getting ready?
I heard your interview with Scott Douglas.
Yeah.
That was freaking over the top.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, he has just as many stories as we have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
I really wanted to go in depth more behind the scenes of an announcer. You know, especially, you're asking a question, people forget how much improv they have to do.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I don't think in your mind as being Cobra that
Yeah.
you're going to line up and you're going to race and all of a sudden you're into a show.
yeah.
No, you did not wake up in the morning
No.
going,
No.
I think I'm going to wake up and
Yeah.
destroy shit.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know who was the announcer for that show in the live portion.
Well, Scott did some of our shows, but Joe Lowe was one of the main announcers
okay.
back on US Hot Rod Tour. Who used to do the whole snake bite, Cobra, Bigfoot stuff. And of course, the Penda days, we had Archie Kaufman and
Snake bite tough.
Yeah, Archie was the biggest one, other than obviously Army Armstrong and those guys. But Archie was the Penda announcer, so to speak, on the fairgrounds. So it was really cool for that. But yeah, the deal with Scott, we just did like the week before, me, Jim Kramer, and Eric Meager all had all together, and it 2 hours and 2 hours to treat. You know that it just flies by.
Mm-hmm.
But the stuff that we had, and even when I did your show a long time back, I mean the time goes by. But there's so many audience members out there that live and die for this old school stuff. And I mean, you revitalized it yourself in your show. When everybody was cooped up, they're tuning in, and you started this up same way the Monster Truck Attitude started up this little diecast racing. Now there's 2 or 3 other websites doing it, and it's just, man, on Thursday night I'm glued in. I'm watching these little freaking Hot Wheels run down a track, and I'm getting hair on my arm stand up like, go, come on, man, go.
And shout out to the Monster Truck Attitude guy.
Yeah, they are.
The professionalism that he's doing. He's making a real form monster truck show with, downhill racing.
Yeah.
And how he's doing it with the little excavator, and then when the truck rolls over, he grinds.
Yep. And I've had Cody Saucier tune into it. I tell him to tune in it. We had Rick Disharoon was driving one time, and I encourage a lot of other older guys to really get in and get behind it, because the Halloween Havoc show had a freestyle competition at the end. A freestyle competition with these, and they're doing backflips with these, and he's not controlling them. He's just letting them roll and do what they want to do. It's so cool to see. It really is.
Man, 30th anniversary. 30th anniversary?
30th anniversary of the
Snake Bite. They did an episode with it too. Scott Douglas, but we got to talk about it. I just got done doing an episode with Josh Gibson, he talked about, the importance of driving the snake, especially winning championships for it, and the way that heritage of the truck, the evil. Oh, there we go. Awesome.
Yeah.
The
whole 30th anniversary thing, and who would ever thought that 30 years later, there's been, and yourself as a historian, there's been so many other trucks come and go, so many names that I'm sure you can name them all. We know Christopher Allen could, and there's several other people that are in tennis today that can name them. I couldn't. There's no way. But the fact remains that people still talk about the snake bite truck today, 30 years later. It's hats off to the impact that it had on the sport. And I mean, I'm so proud that I was obviously the first, but to carry that tradition through the 25th anniversary and then go into 30, I'm like, oh my
Tim Hall told me a funny story. I don't know what show it was, but I want to pick your brain on this
Sure.
one. The laying on the hood, doing the peace sign, during introductions, just doing your
Yeah.
own fiesta, and then acting cool and calm.
Now,
How
yeah.
much, like, the freedom that you got basing your character.
Right. Well, you have a mask on, so you can get away with a crap load of stuff. You know that. But, well, no, you don't, because you don't wear a mask. You don't have to. You're a good-looking man.
Well, thank you.
Quit patting my leg on the table. Hey, getting kind of frisky down here.
It's the way the media works.
Yeah, the snake bite, I guess, the part of the mystique was with the mask. And that was an invention all on my own. I just decided to take it to the next level, not knowing that it would be as popular as it was. We knew the truck really looked pretty cool, but it needed to have that distinctive character. And I've always been a cut up, and I was just, again, really glad to start that. And we made the fictitious name up. But I think in the second year of running it, we were actually at the MTRA meeting, Monster Truck Racing Association, and they were discussing about snakebite because I was one of the first drivers that ever got put on probation. Yeah. Because after I ran over Gary Porter, Carolina Crusher, the Monster Truck Racing Association actually they didn't put me under suspension, but they put you under probation, for a period of so many days because your driving actions was just getting a little over the top. So we were at the meeting, and Mark stands up and he goes, "Yeah, who is that Coke Cobra guy anyway?" He had no idea because back then there was not social media on everything. It was magazines and shit. Yeah, he didn't know. He knew it was out of the camp of St. Louis, but he didn't know who was driving. So that's pretty neat too.
So maybe a little bit more in depth is the design of snakebite. Was it always going to originally be red and yellow, or was there different ideas throughout?
It was always red and yellow. I don't have any of the early pictures on my phone. The Hot Wheels team designed the truck, and anybody that collects Hot Wheels and not the monster truck.
So it's actually technically the original Hot Wheels original.
Yes. The Hot Wheels engineers, Mattel engineers, they sat behind a desk with their computers and they drew up this body. And the first body had side pipes going down the side, a big tongue, which we talked about putting the tongue on the truck, but that far back we didn't know how to incorporate it without getting tore off all the time. The Dalmatian trucks all just run the floppy ears and stuff, and we probably could have got away with that. But they drew the truck up, sent it to the shop. In our weekly meetings, Bob brought it up and said, "Hey, you think we can build this?" And everybody's like, "It's a split 50-50." And said, "Well, if we don't, somebody else will." So the shop took it on their own. Dan Patterson brought it to life with his airbrush work, which anybody that knows any of the early Bigfoot rigs, the Space Odyssey trucks, and all of our rigs was hand painted back then. And it was done by Dan Patterson.
How long did it take them to make one complete snake?
Oh my gosh, probably 2 to 3 days, framed up in the shop, jigged up. Lonnie Childerson helped them. When he was with Bob from the start, pinstriped all the pinstriping on the frames, painted the 4x4x4 on the rear end housings. He used to give me pinstripe paint to take on the road when we'd skin up after hitting the cars and we'd touch up all the lettering. But he's the one that truly brought it to life. And once the truck took off, and then when the identity came with, because if everybody remembers, we actually didn't think it was going to take off that fast. I just had a black fire suit and a white hoodie. Next thing I know, RJS Safety Equipment right up the road up here near Detroit made me a full-blown fire suit with a big snake on the back, and it went all down, wrapped around my leg, and then Dan Patterson airbrushed up my hoods, and it was just like, these people can't get enough of that. So the input from Mattel was, "Hey, this guy's taking it to the next level. We really like what you guys are doing. Can you continue it?" Yeah. And then, of course, the toy line came out, and the early ones are so hard to find. They're double, triple the price. And now that the new Hot Wheels version, the Chase truck, the snakebite that came out, is even extremely hard. But since it's a chase truck and it resembles the very first Mattel Hot Wheels and it's a real truck, everybody wants to collect that more because the Chase Barbie Corvettes, they're not really a truck yet. They might be later on down the road. The Chase Shuttle, it's not a truck, but the Snakebite is a real truck. So, I mean, they say they're plentiful. Trust me, I've looked a lot. And I've had a lot of fans have sent me some to autograph and say, keep the other one. And I appreciate everybody. I only hope that I can find some one day because that is the thrill of the chase to find that truck.
Man, Gene, it's a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for supporting the Hall of Fame. Thanks for doing this. People don't realize how important this is, and your show is important.
Thank you very much.
Because you keep people in touch. You get the right people on. Inquiring minds want to know, and they get to hear your show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
All right, I'll be right back. All right, back. Sorry about that. It was pretty cool. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that, folks. Yes, it was. That was Gene. Let's see if anyone else is on right now. Five people. You know, you guys, all these people on right now, and Gene Patterson, and then Mr. Dustin Parks, all about horsepower here. How's it going?
Hey,
doing good.
I can join you if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. Talk to everyone.
How you doing, Cheech? Hey, everybody.
Dustin Parks, how's it going? Come a little bit closer.
Thank you.
Actually, a little bit format. Explain about your blog that you do.
AllaboutHorsepower.net. I've actually been with the All About Horsepower name since about 2011, and it started actually on a whim. I actually did a lot of writing for the Four Wheel Jamboree, and of all things, one weekend, Ross Bonner called me up and it's like, "Hey, you mind coming out and doing some coverage with us? We'll just have you join us." I'm like, "By all means, I'll come out to it." And that was the weekend that Matt Dishman and Dan Runney had their infamous wreck at Indianapolis, and it just sped on from there. And it wasn't until about 2016, whenever the blog started picking up, I did a lot of writing. It wasn't.
That's what I was wondering. Also, is you have a kind of a art form that's kind of a little bit pushed back in the social media and stuff like that, and you're telling stories for the average reader.
Mm-hmm.
They're basically the picture of Dan Rante and Matt Dishman racing in words.
Exactly.
And how do you do that? Trying to get the right words and fragments to picture what's going on. If someone doesn't have video or stuff like that.
And that's the key thing. As a writer, your biggest thing that you have to do is whenever you're putting pen to paper, or in this case, keyboard to screen, is you want to make the reader feel like they are there. So much like whenever, say, you're working on one of the trucks, it's all in the details. So you have to make sure that those details make it feel like that the person sitting behind the screen is sitting in the front row of the grandstands. So whenever I did that race, and everything happened from the incident whenever they first touched, the rollover, to Ross and Chris running down the track, trying to see if everybody's okay, Paul and Lee checking on everybody. I wanted it to feel like they were right there. And adding in Doc's reaction, and then also adding in the photos of the aftermath to be like, this is what happened. This is what it felt like to be there. And as a writer, that's what you want to do. You want to tell a story, but you also want to feel like you are sitting there in the stands enjoying it. And we're all fans at the core, and that's the key thing to remember. You're a fan at the bottom of it, and then whenever you write, you become a writer to bring that.
Is there a typical show? What was the most draft product you ever done?
Oh my! I can tell you this for sure. Writing for a Jamboree show is nothing, because it's boom, 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 and it's very easy. Honestly, the hardest articles that I have written are about this, the Hall of Fame, because you can't just write and say, hey, this is what the inductees said, this is who they thanked. I always say, whenever it comes to the Hall of Fame, it's not a show. It's an experience, and you want to make the reader experience the Hall of Fame so that they want to come. So honestly, in that aspect, the way you write is you have to not tell exactly what happened as if you're writing a story on a wreck. Say, I want to see this and feel it. And I think we can all agree that whenever you're here and you're surrounded by, people like Bob Chandler, Alan Turok, Mark Hall, and Tim Hall getting inducted this weekend, it makes you feel like you want to be here and contribute. And that's why I feel like those articles are the hardest ones for me to write. I mean, even writing during the years, it was hard to write because you didn't have anybody, you didn't have a show. It's hard to do whenever you're not even competing.
Do you write?
And actually, I gotta give a big shout out to my friend Paul Ditzel. He is a Clearfield Bison. Well, a couple years ago, they asked me to become the photographer because he was stepping out and just doing the website. I said, that's fine. Well, for many, many years prior, I covered the football team, and I still do football, basketball, baseball. And that's what got me into it. And it wasn't until I started doing like a little bit of NASCAR coverage I started to get my feet wet. But it wasn't until I started to give this sport a little more exposure to an audience that may not have seen it that people started to recognize me. And people know me, just like they know you.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And, speaking about, we're going to take a little turn. And how do you feel about that? That kind of, they took the infield out, but then again, probably needed it. But then again, you also have some of the top tracks in the nation less than 2 hours away from each other.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I live about an hour and 45 minutes or west of Bloomsburg. So I'm right literally up the road. It's just up on I-80 and go for me. I am glad that they actually are expanding the infield. We're going with that dirt track. Whenever I first saw the rendering, I was a little bit concerned about how they were going to do it. But then it's the sprint cars. That was going to be a big exposure. And the one thing that I'd also for that venue, because we all have seen what Bloomsburg has meant to the monster truck industry. And to me, I call that technically my home show, even though it's an hour and 45 minutes away. That's my show. I love going there. I didn't go there this year because of a prior commitment. And obviously it just felt a little bit different this year. So I wanted to take a step back and see how it developed. But over the years, Bloomsburg has given me the most exposure to get into the industry. And it's allowed me to not just allow me to just expand and become as I like to say, just become part of the monster truck family.
Now, also, did you get a chance to write up the stuff for the Hot Wheels Monster Truck Alive?
I started so late, but last year and even in 2019, I did a lot of the Hot Wheels or indoor shows for up through the year, and I joke about it with a lot of people because the Hot Wheels show that was set to come to Penn State University last year, I got robbed of it from the pandemic. But the reason why I was so hard on it is the show was happening on my birthday. And it was funny because every year whenever I was turning, the years were 5, 20, truck or NASCAR race on my birthday. And last year I got robbed of it. So whenever they were, then I got robbed again. Well, finally, when they had it in October, I was like, I am not missing it. That was my birthday gift to myself. And I got to tell you, I wanted to see what the Hot Wheels show was like. It is just an amazing show. Great people, great teams, and a great group of folks keeping it entertained. It's, as it was said, they wanted to make it feel like a Thunder National show, and it sure is.
Man, Dustin, look, thank you so much for being on.
Right back, Cheech.
Plug yourself. Go ahead, plug yourself.
If you guys want to, Graham, the blog is allaboutHorsepower.net. I will have a write-up this weekend of the show, or I should say event. That's what it is. And more than anything, and as I said before, it is not an event. It's an experience.
That's awesome. Hey, thank you so much.
Not a problem, Cheech.
All right. That's Dustin Parks, all about horsepower. Let's see here. You see that guy right there. He's just walking around. That's pretty cool. Oh, that'd be cool. Thank you. There's so many people here. Christopher Allen's here. There's Alan Pizzo. Oh, man. There's Chris Milanis. All that, the Thunder Nationals in the background. You see that? There. Hey, there's Brad Chipper. Yeah, sure. I'll catch up with you, Brad.
How you doing, buddy?
Owner, driver, future Hall of Famer.
Hope to be sometime. Hope I can stay in the business that long.
How you been? Last time I talked to you was on audio, and you had some good not trials, but testing
trials
times.
and tribulations for sure. So for those who don't know, I've been sitting out since July of 2020. I had a CML leukemia diagnosis, and I went through 7 months of chemotherapy, and was able to go up to Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota for a stem cell transplant. So that happened on April 9th. So that's my second birthday now. And since then I've been through the ringer, but we are home, we are recovering, and we're hoping to get back into the business and hopefully get the truck back out and running for next summer.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Great to hear about that. He came out and hung out with us at the Minnesota Auto Show. They had an auto show outside, and me and the team were there doing car crushes and ride trucks and everything like that, and you came and hang out, and
yep,
that
it was
pretty cool.
An hour and a half away from Rochester, Minnesota, where I was staying, and at the time, that was my first outing outdoors to see anything at all since I've been laid up in the hospital. I spent about 2 months in the hospital, and they would not let me venture very far away, and even after I saw you, I had to go back into the hospital because I had an E. coli infection in my system. So,
oh my goodness.
So yeah, it was pretty rough.
Oh my goodness! But how's the truck? I know the truck's been a little bit.
Truck's been winterized. It's been sitting in the trailer since I got sick. It's good to go. I mean, we can pull it out, run the valves, and unwinterize it and do a show. But we're gonna take our time, and I'm gonna rehab this winter. And while I'm doing that, we got a few updates to do to the truck. Nothing major, just some safety-oriented stuff and a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Just winter maintenance stuff that everybody does. But yeah, things are going good.
That's cool, man. That's awesome. Everything's been going all right and stuff like that. But has there been, like how about farming? I know he's a big farmer too. How was that season going? And
It was kind of a rough year this year. We've had some battles locally speaking that made things hard for me. I've lost some farm ground, so the business side of things hasn't been great, but we had a good year in harvest. Everything went real smoothly. Equipment had no shutdowns with equipment, no breakdowns. Had tremendous amount of help to the people that have helped me at home. Thank you so much. The support system that we've had at home has been tremendous through this whole thing. So, yeah, we're done with harvest. We're getting equipment cleaned up, and hopefully within the next couple of weeks here, we'll get the truck pulled out of the trailer and start working and switch gears over to monster truck stuff.
Hey, it's a test. You guys are, it's just not like wake up in the morning at 7 o'clock and done at 5. You guys are from like 5 a.m. to maybe all night long. And
Exactly. Yeah. As long as you can keep your butt in the seat, that's what we have to do. And it's just the way it is. And when the weather's good, you strike when the weather's good. So thank God we had good weather this year, and things worked out pretty well.
That's awesome, and you heard the news about Loki's stepping down and retiring.
Yes.
You have one of their former pieces and stuff like that, and Tim Jones got the Tailgater and Smashosaurus and stuff like that.
Yep.
How cool is it? Seeing Doug's stuff going to good hands, and the longevity of his products, especially the truck that you're driving is the big dog.
Yes.
It is his first truck. So.
Yeah, and I take pride in how I do things, and I see how Doug carried himself through the business and how you take care of your truck. Just the whole business mindset and how you conduct yourself business-wise, but also how you conduct yourself with the fans and driving, of course, too. He was so aggressive racing. He was such a good racer, and he was also a tremendous performer for freestyle, too. He might not have won every freestyle. He wasn't the guy to go out there and tear up equipment, but he was fun and exciting to watch yet.
All right. So in the summertime, look out for Against the Grain.
Yep. We'll be back.
That'd be awesome. Well, Brad, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. That's cool. Hope you do better. Not do better, but feel better.
Yeah.
Is everything right now?
Yeah. So I was up at Mayo this Monday here and reviewed my labs and everything. Everything's doing good on a cellular level. The bad stuff's going down. Ability back up and get in the weight room and get working out again. It's still a struggle right now. It's still a long road that we're on, but I'm able to do this stuff and I can take all winter to prepare myself mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually for the next road ahead.
And also, before we leave, how are you building?
I love this whole setup out here. It's refreshing to know that this building and everybody that's in it, they're behind it 110%. And that's the big thing about this building being here. The mayor of this town knows that this is the only place in the world where this happens. Yeah. So it's terrific to see this.
It's not
place
that far of a drive, also.
It's close to home too, so that's awesome to see too. So
can still people follow you at Against the Grain?
Against the Grain, ATGmonstertruck.com, ATG Monster Truck on Instagram, and Against the Grain Monster Truck on Facebook.
All right, take a look at that, and I guess the schedule for the summertime will be up.
We don't have anything booked right now, but as soon as we get shows lined up and stuff, we've been trying to maintain some frequency of updating our Facebook page. So, check us out.
I have to say, we'll talk to Tim Hall. There's a champagne show coming up.
That's right, there is, yes.
So hopefully that helps you and get a booking on because he's looking for trucks. So
perfect.
That's not that far of a drive for you, also.
Oh,
that's a Thursday, so
it's fine by me.
Old straight line racing.
Yep, I don't mind being in tight buildings either.
Oh no, it's actually outdoors.
Oh, it's okay, perfect.
Yeah, they have the champagne campground. So you'll find the guy. He's somewhere around here.
Oh yeah, we'll find him around here somewhere.
Well, thank you, Brad. You take care.
Yep,
all right,
thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll talk to you later.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, that was Brad Chipper, Against the Grain. That's pretty cool that his health's back to normal. Something that Minnesota, do that stuff. And speak about Tim Hall, there's Tim Hall right there walking around and doing his thing. But it's once again, guys, if you have a chance to go here, take a chance to go here. And there's a lot of people around here, a lot of information. once again, there's Excalibur and all of them racing back there. It's pretty cool stuff. Not gonna lie. There's Tim right there, and see who's also here and stuff like that. And once again, I saw Mark Warner. He's a now upcoming announcer. He just walked by here, but I guess he just left. We'll come back around and whatnot. Dave Weisworks here. Just got a photo that was pretty cool with a couple other people. So, how's everything going? That one guy. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, that's awesome. You're here in person? It's cool to see you here. You know that? And let's see who else. A lot photo flipping, a lot of people hanging out. If you guys have anything to ask, maybe a typical driver or something like that, you're more welcome to. So it's pretty cool. Well, look who's here, Mr. Mike Waters. How you doing, sir?
All right.
Hey, how's everything going?
Good.
Good.
We were supposed to do this a week ago, weren't we?
Were we?
You said something about a week before the Hall of Fame or something.
Yeah. Well,
here we are.
I need to get a full episode with you. That'd be cool. I know you were planning on. You did one with Scott Douglas, right?
Yep.
So, how was the new building? It was pretty cool, huh?
Yep. We I remember walking in here and there was a big horseshoe bar over there in the middle of the floor, and the drop ceiling was over there, and just a few of us in here going, man, we do this, we do that, and it turned out much better than we ever thought it would.
The cool thing is you've been pretty much a huge leader on restoring and bringing the past to life, with Taurus and Equalizer and stuff like that. For you, how cool is it bringing trucks back to life?
Well, a lot of people don't realize, but, it's a history that we need to preserve, because everything out there now is just, like all your trucks, tube chassis, fiberglass bodies, just more of an image. We let the generations go and let these trucks go. In the future, nobody will know where this started. We were real steel, and right off the street, a lot of us, Scott Hess and myself, a tremendous amount of us were happening to lower our trucks, take them off the street, by laws. And we were just watching that video earlier at Indy of '84. That's I think what really set it on fire. That's what really set it on fire. And that's where I drove out there in my street truck. I had rear steering. I got runner up of best engineered. I was just 19 then, and I met Mark Boyce, and of course Gary Bauer, and Don Maples, and it was just like a whole new direction that put me in a different direction.
Did you ever think from the time at the Jamboree to all the way now?
No, when I went to the Jamboree, when I finally got my truck done as nice as I did, I didn't even think that far that it was going to be. And then, we went out on tour and, started on shows, and just was history from there. And then there's a lot of people, just like that one video when I restored Taurus 3, and I brought it in the building. Had Jackie. I don't know if you were recording it, but I heard you going, "Oh my God, it was you." That was a Cheech voice. That made me feel so good. Because, were you? How old were you when that was racing?
4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
And actually, here's a crazy thing: is that truck? When I said, "Oh my God," was the first time I saw that in person. When I was living in Virginia.
Well, so you never seen it in person?
No.
So that was what raised the hair on the back of your neck or whatever. It just put goosebumps on you. And even myself, just watching everybody's response, and all the young people that was there, it's real. This is real. It's not pictures. It's not video. And Jackie, driving it, and then when his grandson, we had him all tucked and wedged in there around the bars, told him to hold on. And when he's Jack's grandson, Jackie's boy stood up. Jack just went into tears. You know, he was telling him about the trucks, videos and pictures, and here his grandson's riding into it. You know, it's just so real.
I mean, I saw your truck before I saw the Taurus truck.
Yeah.
Because you did the Thunder Nationals at Hampton Coliseum and stuff like that.
I remember we were just watching some videos of my truck, not here, but my truck racing Jack's Taurus 3. The funny thing is, the 871 supercharger that I ran many years back then, I had up on the shelf. And when I restored the Taurus truck, I put that supercharger over on Taurus. It didn't have a motor. We put a little 468 in it, the same as what it had at the time. It had I think it originally had a 671, but when it came to the motor, with a little bit of Chevrolet stuff I had, I kind of saved up because I knew what I was going to be doing in the future with equalizer. That motor was really supposed to go in the equalizer. And then I just put it together real quick and went to Michigan, bought it at home. So it's like
Battle Cat, the monster.
I
tank,
actually,
right?
Rick Ramanini has it.
Oh, okay.
I still have, some he's got, I guess they're putting a small museum together, and they have it up there somewhere in Michigan, and I plan on getting it back here, in the future. It'd be nice to put it back together, but I normally don't get rid of anything. I got all my trucks and everything. Boogie Van was about the only one that I ever got rid of, but it was under some circumstances I couldn't control, but that's okay.
Now, some people told me that you still have a Black Stallion 2000.
Yeah, the body's upside down in my shop. We just retired the chassis that come out on. And what I really wanted to do before COVID was to get my truck redone, the original one, and then restore that one. And it would have been, of course, this year, and it would have been 25 years for that truck. It would have been 25 years for that truck, and then, of course, the 40 years for the Black Stallion name.
I was about to say, with you having that Black Stallion 2000 truck back in the mid-90s, you were a forefront of the shock technology.
Yes.
The importance of that
I was
truck.
the first guy to ever drive to California and meet Lance King and Brett King at Custer. And that's when Taurus first came out. Excuse me. That's when Taurus first came out to double the shocks. And I drove out there and I wanted them to build it. They made a shock into building a longer shock than nothing. And they said, well, we're talking about building 16. And I was like, if we could at least get 18 to 20 inches. So then about a week or so later, Lance called me and said, we decided we're going to do an 18. So when we bought the 18s coilovers, and that's when I was building Boogie Van. I was building the Airstar at the time for myself. And we put them on that. Well, actually, I put the shocks on my original truck with airbags. And then we trussed it, made it 4-link. At that time, none of us knew what direction we were going in. So once we got something figured out, then that's when I went back and built Boogie Van. And we put the 18-inch coilovers. So then I could not get them to build long shocks. So then I built a 36-inch shock for the back of a Black Stallion 2000, which I changed Boogie Van over and had them on that too. And then since then, that's when the Lance King and then started King Shocks. I did this with the bypass tubes and everything. They were convinced that they could make it, and they come out with the King 26-inch.
And pretty much you helped to standardize the what today's trucks are with 26 and 30 inches.
Well, they always was under the impression they couldn't move oil that fast. Actually bought my bypass tube stuff from Kirk LeDuc, Todd LeDuc's dad, when they did all that off-road racing at Indy. I met them, and I met Walker Evans, and I learned a lot about off-road shocks. And I said, well, what if we put these big buttons? He said, oh, yeah, you can do it. You just need to move the fluid. King shocks, or Custer, always had the smaller bypass tube, which King columns on it. I got 1-inch bypass. You just got to move that oil fast. I learned a lot over the years with the shocks. I'd like to say at one time I had some of the best working trucks. We still do. Mm-hmm. But, it's been a
I saw the release information that you're do a Ed Beckley show.
Yeah, I don't have a contract on that yet. I'm not all happy with that, but I mean, I'm okay. But we haven't reached a, you know, it's pretty close to home. We're gonna do some regrouping this year. We're not doing anything with Monster Jam. Mikey's still having some, he's trying to get his immigration stuff right to be able to travel backward from Canada. He wants to get dual residency, not citizenship, dual residency. He already has a home with his wife and two little ones up there, and so we're trying to get him where he can come and go and get him back on the schedule. So we're just kind of taking the first quarter off.
How was
the season? A lot of shows. So we're just going to do some putting a new bus body together. Going to lower it down and change some different things on it. Get it set down a little bit lower. We're going to do that. And of course, Monster Jam had talked to me about doing some arenas. Of course, we wanted to do stadiums. It's not the end of my time. I mean, we'll be done. And so we're just kind of regrouping.
All right. Well, I gotta set up a schedule and have you on. We could talk a timeline and the history of the Black Stallion and Mike Waters.
Yeah, Scott Douglas had me on. We talked about this girl named Pam, and I kept trying to remember. And we talked about everything, the shots and this and that. And before I knew it was 2 hours, and we talked about Trey and my jet quads. Before I knew it, I didn't even get to say anything about Matt. And so, him and I, we need to join back up and talk about, some of my later years. So,
now, the cool thing about my podcast, you have a 4-hour show. It doesn't matter. People follow it anyway. So we can talk about the history of Black Stallion all the way to Matt Cody. So, but thank you, Mike.
God bless you, man. You're doing a good job.
Oh, thank you.
You're doing an excellent job with All Brothers.
Try to keep on keeping on, Man. All right, so I'll schedule something and then we can do that. So we'll be on the lookout for episode with Mr. Mike Waters. All right, that's pretty cool. Awesome. Look at all the video. If anyone else also have questions, I got here for people. Let's see here. That's a video. Never mind. Epic photo. Can't deny that one, but yeah. Yeah, I hear ya. Air Crush. Cool guy. He does a lot of the Kodiak stuff, which is right over here. And you have an awesome display right there. Really helped me out with this cool story about him. He really helped out during the Indie Jamboree. We had these Raminator 5th scale monster trucks, and I had no idea what I'm doing, but he took his time and helped out and tried to tune up these trucks, these gas-powered trucks out. They're on, Mackenzie, I'm trying to. They're busy. They're doing important, busy stuff. Important, busy people. I don't know, man. Let's see here. It's all scheduled. We're going to have Chris Parrish on. He's here with Danny Mass. Talk about your uniform, Chris.
Looking good, right?
I like it because it reminds me of
retro.
It reminds me that you should own the big boss.
Bringing it back,
not
old
the big
school.
Boss, like the Budweiser boss. I feel like the Budweiser.
No, I'm ready to run the floor at a 1988 USHRA event.
Can I get 5?
Look out for the mud.
Can I get 10 other people just walking around the floor while the strips are running?
Yeah, I mean, we need to have a proper crew to make sure that everybody's picking up each clump of mud to throw it back in the mud pit as the cars blast through the pit. We didn't really have jersey barriers back then, and so you had to have as many people on the floor as possible to push the trucks back onto the track if they got a little out of control. I mean, you got to think safety first, and so we took care of that back in the day, and you got to keep the crowd happy and reeling for more.
Right. I mean, we just heard your episode. We had Matt Schultz on. You were here at the 89 Indianapolis Hoosier Dome.
Yeah, Hoosier Dome, baby, old school.
It's pretty cool being on that, and then talking about that event, in general, how cool was it to bring back memories and have two other guys, one you race RC with every single month, and another guy too is another historian. But how cool to bring back the past memories of that event in general.
Oh, definitely, Cheech. I mean, that's one of the great things about the industry. When we get together, it's fun to just talk about old history, reminisce of. I mean, that's kind of what all of tonight here at the Hall of Fame is about. There's a lot of reminiscence going on, and so for me, that was an event that's close to my heart because I was there. I mean, I was really young, and kind of like I think some of the classic monster truck people encounter when they run into us nerds at some of these events, where we kind of remember some things that they don't, or we've seen video and such. I actually ran into that a little bit on the podcast that we were talking about, where I remembered certain things, but possibly because of time or my age at the time, I didn't remember all the details, and so we really got to hash some things out. But it was great to get to talk to some different people to get more perspective, and so it was a lot of fun. It's great to talk history, and so I mean, you and I have sat down and talked before, and it's just fun to talk about old school monster trucks, and that's one of the great things about tonight here too.
So a lot of people also don't know that you're an avid RC racer too. And you have the 10 scale versions, you have a fleet of Barefoots, awesome Kongs, stuff like that. And hopefully next week you come by.
Right? I hear there's a big event next week.
Yes, that I'm hosting. But how was that too for you? I mean, you can watch the previous Trigger King videos and stuff like that, how you grew to become now pretty much a top racer in the event, because now pretty much every race you're kind of threatening to win, consistently and stuff like that. But the progression that you had as a racer in RC has to be really, really cool for you.
Well, I certainly appreciate you mentioning that, and I'm glad you think of it that way. I'm certainly competitive. I have a competitive nature, and so that kind of helped me when I got into the RC industry. Like pretty much anybody that gets into the industry, you kind of start light, and then suddenly it spirals out of control. And now I've got a large fleet of trucks that I don't like to think of how much money I've got sunk into this stuff. But we have a lot of fun each month playing with our toy trucks and racing. But it was interesting because the way I started, I got in and I really wanted to focus on personal identities, making trucks that were just my own identities. And over time, I think a lot of it was because I was intimidated by trying to replicate a lot of our heroes from the past. And I didn't feel like I could quite reach the level of replication that I needed to justify building that truck. And so gradually I started testing some things. And so I also noticed some gaps in particularly Trigger King, because that's where, okay, this was a huge truck back in the day, but it really doesn't have any presence here. And so that's kind of where Barefoot came from. And then I started to become friends with Jack Willman with Taurus, and we had Jeremy Mark with Trigger King running the Taurus name, and became friends with Schaefer. I'm like, we need to have some Barefoot representation here. And so I thought, all right, I think I can manage this one, design the graphics, and started implementing, and then it kind of snowballed from there. And so it's been a lot of fun to kind of become the Barefoot guy in the series, and several of us have kind of our own identity, our own replica identities that we've adopted, and I think it's been a lot of fun. You and I race almost monthly, and it's not only a fun competitive time where we get to race our RCs, but it provides us time to hang out and be good friends as well.
Yeah, like my idea was with the Hall brothers and stuff like that, from the longevity of Big Boss, Executioner. I picked Hotsy over the other two trucks because I always like to look at that truck compared to everything else. But you also do a lot of the track, putting the track together.
Sure.
And and you're also doing this too, the Hall of Fame and stuff like that. And how you like this building? How you like what's going on right now?
I've been very fortunate to be involved in a variety of things, and I'm grateful for that all the time. Whether it's Trigger King or Monster Trucks or the Hall of Fame thing. This is actually my first time at the Hall of Fame. I was not here for the grand opening or the event in September. And I've got to say, I'm pretty blown away by it all. I don't know if you've been here before, but it's impressive. In this building, the trucks look huge. They've done an awesome job with setting up the feel for the entire building, and I think there are a lot of bright things on the horizon for the Hall of Fame. Looking forward to tomorrow night as well, but the number of replica trucks and rebuild trucks that are on site here, I'm looking over it in the distance here, and it just kind of make your nerd a little bit happy. I mean, we've just from here, we got the Barefoot test truck. I've got RBC talking.
He's waiting
in the background. He's probably giving me bunny ears or something. So we got guys back here just hanging out, having fun as well, telling stories. We've got great video going. I mean, there's old school video going on here. Stuff from the archives that we've got that we pull out just for these events to really show it off for the fans.
Awesome. Well, Chris, for RBC, it looks like he wants to be on.
I think I'm worth bumping out here. It's time to turn this over to RBC. We've seen Tim Hall, the Hall of Famer. Oh, what is this? All right, we're going to turn it over to RBC. Step in. And I'm glad to be booted on this behalf.
How you doing, Bob?
Good. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. Man, ever think about this, huh?
Not a real outspoken person, so.
That's all right. With the COVID and everything like that, it's
changed.
It changed a lot and stuff like that. So I mean, thank goodness to see all this going on, and it's crazy to think, what you started, other also helped out around to create the industry. Now we have a Hall of Fame, museum.
Spectacular. It really is. To see all, I just went through every name on the Hall of Fame in here, and it brings back memories and to meet people.
It's just man, I didn't think I would be seeing you today. So I try to make this whole event kind of like a NASCAR interactive type deal. You know how people come and go throughout. So, it just I thought it was pretty cool. I knew Tim probably talked to you to come down here. But how cool is that? They've been with you for, lined up against your trucks for
years and years and years. Yes, well overdue. They're both great people. They're both very responsive for the industry. They're great for the industry. And I think one of the best things that happened to them when Dodge started sponsoring them, because they couldn't have found any better people.
And another thing I always was kind of curious. Was it doing the Odyssey battery commercial, like Richard Petty and Haley Deegan and all these?
That was fun.
Like, how long was it the tape for that? Was it all day?
Really only involved about half an hour. And everybody kind of knew what they were doing. And yeah, let's do that part over. Okay, that's good. Let's do this part over. So it's very simple to do. And meet people, you kind of you're humbled by their presence.
I was talking to Richard Petty.
Yes, Petty was great. He was just the nicest guy in the world. But I don't think he's as old as I am.
Oh no, but I mean, was it cool also to see other forms of motorsports coming to you, talking to you about intrigued about what you were part of, what are you a part of, and Xfinity Cup drivers, truck drivers. A guy. Yes, the guy was fishing, a professional fisherman.
He was a fisherman, so that's what they give him to do. I had the RC car. I was supposed to be running for that thing. One guy, I don't know what he actually did, but he was like a comedian.
Yeah, sponsor.
Yeah, who was that?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. But he was good. He kept everybody laughing. It made it a lot easier. That museum is spectacular. He must have saved every damn thing he ever got.
Was it filmed at Richard Petty's museum?
Petty's museum, yeah. It's really great. And it made me think, why didn't I save that? Why didn't I save that? Why didn't I save? Because he's got everything that's up on shelves. And it's neat to go through.
Yeah, I thought another good museum was Richard Childress's. With the Dale Earnhardt stuff that they had over there in North Carolina. Is his shop in North Carolina?
I don't think you know where.
Okay.
I'm 80 years old. I don't remember things. And I don't want to remember everything.
But, it's cool that also, obviously, you're a Hall of Famer now for SEMA. How was that experience?
Tell you what, that was unreal because you're in a conference hall and there's 10,000 people there, people that you look up to that have been your heroes over the years that are in the audience. And it was good because they answered me a funny comment because they asked me about my wife driving the truck for a 3-2-1 contact. It was for a TV show, for a kids show. And toward the end of the day, they said, well, we want her to drive over cars. And she came to me and says, I've never done it before. What do I do? And I explained to her, she says, I'll get in the cab with you and tell you what to do as you do. She says, but you've got to hide. So I had to get down on the floorboard with my shoulder up on the dashboard and my seat up against my side up against the truck and kind of tell her what she's doing going through this. I should have thought more about it. I really should have thought more about it because I know my wife. She's not going to put a lousy show on. And people think that she's just a girl, she can't do it. And I said, you go up to the cars, you kind of count your front on there, the same with the rear. Don't make it back up and hit harder. She wasn't going to do that and have people laugh at her. She put her to the floor. She was probably the first monster truck driver, male or female, that got air over cars. And I'm on the floor with no seatbelt on, no helmet on, everything, hanging on for dear life. But
was she with the that was the Ranger?
Attention, everybody.
Yeah, no, that was the regular
last
truck.
call for food tonight.
Oh, really?
So what?
My favorite. I had an interview with Jim Kramer, audio-wise. I told him my favorite Bigfoot truck was one of your full-size trucks. It was the Ranger. I always thought it was awesome for you guys with a big blown motor, a little truck, and just it hauled mail. And I always am intrigued about that because it was originally what Ms. Bigfoot, wasn't it? And what my question was, you built that one. Were you ever thinking about building a full?
No, and she didn't really like driving in the first place. She drove it a couple of times for pictures and things, but she never drove it at a show. And that's a rough riding truck. It didn't have good suspension on it. It had very solid suspension, but it didn't have any travel to it, so it was rough riding. And that little tire, that 48, doesn't have a lot of give to it like the 66s back then. But I drove at a show one time with my daughter in the car, and when we got done with the show, she said, "I'm never going to ride with you again."
Like I said, that truck always intrigued me. And what was when that Ranger came out for Ford, was there an idea for you to get that, to promote the Ranger, the help? I know when I talked to Tim, he always talked about how back in the 80s, Toyota was a big deal. The Hilux and, the smaller trucks. Well, Ford had the Ranger. Was that trying to show the Ford fans that they could build something pretty cool with the Ranger?
I don't know if we ever got input from Ford on that. After we built it, they were happy with it. They used it several times. But I don't think that was our intent. It was just something different, something smaller, something my wife could relate to, or women could relate to more. That's all we had in mind.
That's a kind of similarity also with the shuttle, right?
Yes, shuttle was fun. We rode some of the Ford big brass from the airport to SEMA show one year in that shuttle and drove back. We were steering, everybody else drove into town, and they got a kick out of it.
That's cool. Yeah, I've never been to SEMA. Tim tells me stories about SEMA, and I always wanted to have the experience of seeing that. I've been to PRI before, but I think it's completely different than SEMA itself.
SEMA, you can't see it all. In a week's time, you could never walk all the floor. It's just way bigger than that. So you got to get a book ahead of time and pick the places you're going to go see. The way I got in it the first year, I drove out. I was driving Bigfoot. I drove it out there. I parked it between Convention Center and the hotel there, the SEMA hotel there. And I talked to several people about putting it in. I says, well, we're full, we'll do this. But I parked it. Everybody had to walk past it. And that night, somebody contacted me. We got a spot for you. We want to put you in the back. I parked, trucked it around, and got it in the show. And from that point on, I don't think I've never missed a year's show.
Really?
Some years, except last year and this year.
I mean, and also with the cool thing about Bigfoot and the company that you have is the longevity of sponsorship. It's not just some other company only keeps like 3 years and then it's gone or stuff like that, but the longevity, because a lot of the sponsorships that you have with Bigfoot and these companies like Odyssey batteries and stuff like that, you guys use the SEMA product also for experimenting. It's cool having that with the twist with modern sponsors, not modern sponsors, but sponsorships that people may not know monster trucks in general, but they go and see.
We started out with Casey Highlights, the Rollbar Company, I can't think of it, but
Warren, right?
Warren Wrench, yeah, all the old manufacturers were our sponsors for years and years. We've been really lucky with sponsors right now because it's without a sponsor, you're out of business. And try to keep them happy. That's the whole thing. We do things and make sure their name is out there. That's what they want to see.
So I for me as a fan, maybe I'm going to pick the brain a little bit. I'm sorry about this, but how did you get the relationship between Bigfoot and Ford?
I was doing it. I was at a SEMA show, had a display with probably Bigfoot 1 back then, and a guy came up and started talking to me, and I realized it was Ethel Ford. And we talked, and we did a show probably 4 months later at the Silverdome, and who comes up with Ethel Ford. Easily tell it, I really like that Ford sponsorship. And he says, well, I don't work for Ford. I said, that's you're a vice. You're a board member. You have a laugh. He's a great guy. And he talked to somebody, and then within a few weeks, we were sponsored by Ford from that point on.
Can you imagine how long the deal was going to be? Was it like with Tim, they normally would have like a 3 year. Was it like that for you also? Or?
There are people that handle sponsorships. How they divide it up is, okay, you've got these guys sponsored. Bigfoot gets 5 hours one day, so you're divided up, so you're part of this guy. I don't know. It's everybody does things differently. They've been good for us. I think we've been good for them. I think our whole industry, something I wanted to say today at our meeting, I think our whole industry have brought trucks from the farm boy into the most popular things now. They sell more trucks than anything else, probably.
I mean, it's crazy to think.
I think we've been good for that.
My dad was telling me that he bought
Not me, I'm sorry, the industry.
Yeah, my dad was telling me when he was, in the Navy, he bought for example, a Chevy Silverado for almost like $2,000. Now there's Ram trucks with my company, Mark and Tim. It's $93,000 for a dually. The luxury now, and it's just like instead of single cab, now you have quad cabs. Some companies don't even make extended cabs or single cab trucks no more. It's just
and you get all the extras you want on the thing. When I was in high school, I had a Chevy, little old Chevy 49 Chevy Ford pickup, and I was kind of outlaw because I'm a Hoosier. I had a pickup truck. You didn't drive pickup trucks back then. But the industry has changed. I think we've changed. It had something to do with changing the whole automotive industry.
I thought, for me personally, I thought the turning point of the pickup truck revolution was between like the late '80s to the '90s. From the Ford versus Chevy with you and Everett, and then later on down the line doing music videos with Alan Jackson, which was later on sponsored by Ford. And driving your truck in a music video with NASCAR sponsored Ford cars. Like you said, with the industry itself, with especially the pickup truck line, it grew. Like the saying goes, race on Sunday, fine Monday. Did Ford ever gave you like I'm trying to think what the saying goes, like, do you know that your truck helped? I'm just saying, like, the production wise with Ford, did they give you numbers saying, okay?
Never. No, they didn't do that. I don't think if it was a positive thing, I don't think they'd say it anyway. Big corporation in this.
It's still, I always like the business side of it and stuff like that. And Firestone, I mean, I think that's pretty cool too. You were rocking the Goodyear tires for the longest time, and you got introduced with the Firestone and also ZF axles. I remember talking to Jim about introduced to what you guys had with the Rockwells, the 5 tons of the Rockwells, and then you went with the ZFs and stuff like that. Still, Firestone has been with you guys since the longest time.
Very good. Good for us. I think we've been good for them. Most of that stuff wasn't sponsored. And some of the nice people that we deal with. Made the first toys. God, how do we ever get into this? Toys made everywhere. But nowadays we got a bobblehead Bigfoot. We made it in this world. We got a bobblehead Bigfoot.
Hopefully it makes the. I had a friend of mine took pictures there. I guess in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, there's a bobblehead museum and Hall of Fame.
Really?
Yes.
Where?
Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's the funny thing is when he said when he answered the door, don't touch. And then you talked about the Bigfoot bobblehead. That'd be pretty cool to be in there. But off to the side also, you have seen your photography in Alaska and stuff like that. And you still do that? You still travel around?
Well, the last year and a half we haven't done a whole lot of traveling. But we're planning on doing some more. I'm going to sell the RV I had. I've got a smaller one coming, a new one. And I'm hoping my wife will drive. She won't drive this one. And I'm 80 years old, and I get out in the middle of somewhere on the Alaska highway or something, and I have trouble, and she won't drive. We're screwed. So I hope she'll drive this one. And we're going to do some more traveling coming up probably starting next year.
Did Tim tell you about our little open house we're having next week?
No.
Oh, yeah. We'll have an open house next week, yeah. At the Hall Brothers shop, and then
very good.
And having a little bit of RC racing and stuff like that.
Very good. Good for him. He needs to.
Yeah, he told me a lot of people have been harping on him about it, so at least he's doing it,
Tim's kind of bullheaded about some things, so I'm sure you know.
But again, it's like you said, it's pretty cool for them to be in this. He always tells me, like, when they first started, they went up to you and Jim for advice and stuff like that because they wanted to make this as professional as possible. And I knew a lot of the shows when I was younger watching. They were always in the lineup of whatever show that you guys had or stuff like that. And it's pretty cool working for them.
Both of them are great because they got a good personality. They're honest. They're hardworking. They know how to deal with people. And that's the whole lot of their skills of building the truck. Hard to beat with anybody. So they've done good. They from the start out. I didn't think it was a good idea to change their name from the early days because you got to start over with fans. But they did a great job with that.
I'm happy for working for them and hopefully continue on.
Good people.
Yeah. Well, I have to have a full episode with you. We'll try to work something out.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry I've been waiting so long.
It's all right. What is it? Patience is a virtue, I guess, right? Oh, okay. Take care. That was Mr. Bob Chandler. That was pretty cool. Mark Peterson said hi a few minutes ago. That's oh, Pam. Hello, Mrs. Waters. Let's see who else is. Okay, nothing much. Hey, speaking about Mark Warner, come over here. Mark Warner here. I was mentioning to him earlier, you got some shoes to fill because I just interviewed Mr. Bob Chandler. I just mentioned about him. You were walking. I was trying to get your attention. Up and coming announcer. We're going to do an episode down the line and we'll talk about that stuff.
Exactly.
But, he does announcing for all sorts of promotion companies. For example, how was it for you this year? And how did you get the butterflies out of your system? Because I remember you always talked to me and you were nervous. Well, I heard some of the shows, and it definitely sounds like you got your game on. So, how is it? And also, there's going to be multiple questions here, Mark. I taught this for Scott Douglas on his podcast. Improving. So how do you get your mind going improv-wise during your show? Because every monster truck show is different. It's not the same. So how do you get you mentally prepared for something that could be crazy or may not even happen?
What I try to do on my end is I try to go back to like when I was a fan in the stands. I'm like, okay, I want to be amped up. I want to go and make sure every fan there, hey, that truck could have been having problems on that hit. Then you know what? You let the fans know they gave it their all, and sometimes parts happen, but they're going to go. If it's a 2-day show, they'll get it back and they'll burn it down to tomorrow night. It's trying to channel, what I liked when I was sitting in the stands and an announcer, and what gets the crowd amped up, and just go back to that zone, shall we say.
So how many events did you have this year, and who did you announce a lot of?
So this year, third year doing this, we did 13 shows, announced for South Carolina Monster Truck Madness, High Impact Productions out of Hampton, Virginia, KSR Motorsports, Jack Brady, the Holman's promotion, Top Notch Event Promotions, Zane Ratu, Mayhem of Monsters, and I'll probably leave. It was a year, 3 years in, and just loving it. It's living a dream, and Dan, we know each other from back in the day, and I started off video game announcing, and now getting to go out there and become the person I want to be.
The cool thing is we came from the video game side of stuff like that, but did you ever think of how many people we did the video games be now in the regular monster truck world?
I've actually had the chance to work with a lot of people who started in monster truck world, video game world, and who are now doing it, and it's just amazing seeing where it's coming, and just looking at now those of us who are doing this for fun on a Friday night and being competitive and all that, now seeing, well, you're in the business. It's living the dream in a sense.
Living the dream, and the thing is, it's pretty cool that, we all form and stuff like that, and traveling every direction, I mean, like different forms and everything like that. It's pretty cool, all because, SMRA and, that's Simulated Monster Truck Racing League, just to let everyone know. But, Damien helps out. He just helped out with the guy with a pretty cool tank. It's just pretty cool to think about that, huh?
Oh yeah, and I'll be fair too. If you were to have told me that the stuff I was doing for fun with my friends, that I'd be doing it in this business, and I would have probably looked at you and wondered if you'd been drinking something that wasn't water. Let's just put it that way. But I look at it now, and getting into it, it's taught me a lot, both about the business and a lot on a personal level too. And I can't even explain that properly, but you might get it because it teaches you about yourself and how hard you can push yourself much more than you think. And
me and Damien told you to do it, and you were questioning yourself on even doing an announcing show, and to a point where now you're announcing multiple shows.
Yeah.
Your schedule is filling up. What's your schedule like in 2022?
Right now, so far from what I've gathered, we should be seeing a lot of stuff from this year coming back. Some more stuff too, always expanding, always growing, and making sure too, not just in a professional sense, but in a personal sense. My mission every show is I want every fan out there to go. I want them on the edge of their seats. I want them making noise, and I want them going back and saying, man, that was a kick-butt show, and it was worth every penny, and we'll be back next year.
All right, we're going to do a full episode for you, and we get more in-depth and how to do a timeline, stuff like that. And that's Mark Warner. Catch him maybe a future episode, and hopefully see him around down the road, at a live event. So, Monster Truck announcer, Mark Warner.
Take care, everyone, and hey, you see me at a show, feel free to come up and say hi.
Will do. There's Mr. Deal Wilson. You haven't seen him now for a while. He's coming by to hang out. What are you doing, Mr. Wilson?
Long time no see, sir.
I know, right? You hung out with us in Winchester's dealership and watch some. Well, you hang out with us.
Well, it was a long way for me to have to travel to get there, being during my hometown.
How was that car show, by the way?
Good. Actually, we took best in show, so we were very fortunate.
All right.
Very good.
That was great. Yeah. Me and Kurt were talking about that. Was a nice Raptor.
The dealership didn't like it.
Yeah, I remember they were asking you to move that thing, and you're like, "I'll move it whenever I moved it." But how is it? How is this? Being to the new building, you've been at the old one, but seeing the new one now.
You know what? This is the first time I've been here, and I will tell you, it's very impressive. Way bigger inside than it looks from the outside. I come down on Wednesday, and they weren't open, so I didn't come in. But I said, my goodness, how they have trucks and stuff, and it's way bigger than it looks. And they've done a tremendously good job of putting it together. I commend Jeff and all of his group of troopers that's done that job, which has done a really nice job.
Did you ever think when you first started out doing this from pooling that this would grow into the way it is today?
Never in a million years would you think that. Mob George, when we worked for SRO with the pulling truck, I told him I want to build a monster truck. He called me in the office, the deal. He said, he didn't want to do that. I said, 2 years, they're going to be going. I said, no, I'm still going to build one anyway. But smarter man as he was, and he was a smart man when it comes to be a promoter, he wasn't smart about that. The phenomenal they throw it into is just unbelievable.
And then, how cool is it also coming around in full circle that, kids, saw when you were driving like in Wheeling, West Virginia with, the racing truck, knowing later on that you had, the first Virginia Giant, that people were coming up to you with photos of your old truck. How crazy is it now coming back to full circle?
What's bad about that is those kids now are big adults and talk to me about that. Which tells you that I'm an old guy because they were pretty old. but they remind you about setting in the wheels and the first truck they ever saw and all this stuff. It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat. I mean, it's just, words don't describe that. That's just a feeling that you get of accomplishment that you didn't even know you was doing. It taught me that you never not talk to people. You never not give them the opportunity to talk or to be in the truck or look at the truck. You never do that. It's amazing what impulse you have on these kids or impression you have on these kids, and they carry that through life. So I think it's been a good ride.
Oh yeah.
We're a long way from being over, but still good.
And it's cool that you've gone through the whole, pretty much all of right now currently the generation of monster trucks and how it is and stuff like that. And like you said, you never knew in a million years that you would be, that conversation with Mr. George that led to now through that having your own promotion company and running your own races and then racing throughout the United States, spreading the word about the Virginia Giant,
Yep.
And
you never would have thought that. never in 100 years. And when you were doing it, you didn't think about doing it. You didn't think about why you were doing it. You just knew you were doing it. You did because that's what you enjoyed.
So you were pulling with the Virginian. What got you triggered saying, I want to build a monster truck? There was a lot of guys would just go do the pulling, but what tripped the trigger on that?
Well, I was in Lexington, Kentucky. Bigfoot was there on 48, and he hadn't went to 66s yet. And I had a sponsor, Bill Hinkle with Virginia Galleries Furniture. He wanted to build one to play with. He was pretty financially wealthy. And I said, let's don't do that. Let's build one to make money with. He said, think we can? I said, yeah. He said, I'll tell you what, you put up the labor and I'll put up the money. We'll build it and be partners. So we did that. And like all people like that, the interest was not very good. It kind of fell down a little bit. So I wound up in about 3 years, I wound up buying him out. And it's been gung-ho ever since.
Yeah, one guy, Wayne here, he said, Mr. Wilson, the Virginia Giant, especially when you owned it, was the best looking truck. It was always nice and clean. I remember when I was working for Feld, they always, even the higher ups mentioned saying, I guess there was an award for best looking monster truck for quite some time, and it seemed like you won that award a lot. And the pride that you have on your trucks, the show quality, even though we're in a world where one rollover can look like an airplane crash, still, and the next show after that, I always think about your trucks as some of the best looking trucks out there.
My pulling truck was the same way. We won best awards all the time for best appearing. You go to Bowling Green, they give a best appearing four-wheel drive truck. We would win that. When we built the monster truck, we built it to match the four-wheel drive. They were identical twins up in size. Actually, that's the reason why I wanted to use some Firestone tires when everybody else used Goodyears. I used Firestones because they had the straight bars like the pulling truck did. But as far as appearance, I don't like to clean. I'll tell you that. I hate to clean, but I will tell you that it has to be clean. If it has to be clean, that's what I got to do. But that showmanship is everything. To me, that's what I want people when they look at it to know that. And so far in this building, I've talked about 8 people, and that's all they talk about. Is how nice the truck was. And even the trucks today that we have today are the same way. Like the new ride truck we just built. I mean, they come to me in Charlotte and said, "We won the best appearing monster truck here today." Well, that's don't give me nothing, but it sure is a nice compliment, and I like it. So we always do that. We're hoping to put the other truck back together to be as good as the original was. Just business doesn't allow me to do that right now, but I will get to it. We have all the parts and pieces to do that.
With that also, the danger of it too, that, one little donut spin can put you on top of on the roof and
we were just talking, I was just talking to Jeff Cook. We went 18 years and never rolled a truck. So close, so many times, doing reverse wheelies and all that stuff. Never roll a truck. Get over on the side, save it somehow. Mostly luck. I certainly don't have the skill. But that 18th year, we rolled over 6 times. That's that quarter, the first quarter, And luckily, we were able to fix the truck all the time. When we go home, we put the body back exactly like it was. You couldn't even tell it was wrecked. So here again, from an arm's length, you didn't know there was anything ever wrong with it. And we were able to piece it together. I know when we were in Hampton, Virginia, we rolled it twice in the same day. And in the dirt, and on the concrete, it isn't so bad. It'll slide across the concrete, wear a hose from it. It's not so bad. But that dirt, it tears that body off it. We brought it home. I think it's like 3/4 of cabs. I think even on the truck. It was just we hauled it all in pieces. So
18 years.
Yeah. So we're trying to figure out how we're going to get this truck back together to go for next weekend because we got to be out next weekend. But we did, and it's actually on the ride truck right now. The new ride truck.
That body.
That's that body.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
How do you this is my last question. The technology, from you started to now, it has grown. It's not lying about the sport that you're in is the fastest growing motorsports in the world. How do you
fortunately, if you look at what it started as, just luck. Everybody don't have broken backs that had those old trucks. The new trucks, with a little bit of work, they are so good and they can do those big jumps and absorb them, and it doesn't hurt so bad. You can trust when I tell you, a guy that jumps 150 feet and lands, it's on his nose and says, that landed perfect. I'm telling you, it still hurts. I don't care what you say. But it's survivable hurt. Where the old trucks was just a solid hit. My old saying, I always explain this, in the old suspension had 7 inches, so how hard can I hit you from here? And how hard can I hit you from back here? The shocks are the same thing. That's how hard it hits. So it makes a big difference. That's why when a monster truck lands on its side, even with the best suspension, when it lands directly on its side, that's the hardest whiplash you get.
I also noticed with a lot of the driving style that I had, I like it because you like on concrete shows, the Ironside cars, you go over, you don't get big air. As soon as you touch the ground, you're already making your turn.
That's right.
And there's a lot of times where you won events just being smooth and stuff like that. And now when you're talking about the suspension, you're trying to eliminate using all your suspension.
That's
trying to be as silk and smooth as you can.
That is 2 things. That's knowing how to read the cars and knowing how to use that throttle hitting the cars. And you have to be so on time. Because what happens is with the horsepower and as fast as they move today, as soon as them front tires hit that car, you got to let off the throttle.
Yeah.
And that way to drop the front right over, and you got to be right back on the throttle, right down. And I've fortunately not bragging about it. I've won in some of the worst lanes that guys knew forever that there's no way they couldn't beat me.
The reason why I talked about this is because I did a track crew. I was track crewing for a Monster Jam show in Dayton, Ohio. There was all these stadium big names: Becky McDonough, Byron Musauer. Big people know today in Monster Jam.
Right.
No one was touching you that night. You were what I talked about. You were about 2 or 3 truck lengths ahead of everyone that night, and even those stadium people could handle what you were doing.
Funny, but they were, what's the word I want to use? I won't say scared. They didn't know. They were intimidated by bare cars with no ramps. TNT used to be the same way. They used ramps. We never had ramps, so we never bothered me. And it's all about how to handle it. So what they do, they bonsai. And while they're up here in the air, hanging up here trying to figure out how they're going to land, I'm down on the car saying goodbye. It's just that's all it takes, And it's just a technique that you learn. And I was fortunate to learn that. If they did that enough, they would learn that too. It's amazing to me how many drivers I've run with. They can't see the cars are maxed down over here with 2 ramps clear over the side, and they'll line up to the 2 biggest bumps there is. It tickles me to death because I know I'm going to beat them. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, I would love to have a full episode with you. Talk about the timeline and everything like that. This is my little NASCAR style. People come and go and stuff like that.
I think it's great.
I don't even know how many people. I think you're number 20. I don't.
That's good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you, Deal.
Invite everybody to come out and see the Hall of Fame. It's great.
Will do. Thank
All
you
right,
so
see ya.
much.
All right.
All right. Oh, from one Ford guy to the other, Mr. Mike Wine.
Gotta bring this over.
One
Gotta
Ford
bring
guy
this.
to another.
Oh, he a whole lot,
Ford.
bro. He a whole lot older
Ford.
than me.
You're bumping tables and everything, Eric. I don't know what you're into or whatever, but bumping tables, hearing aids.
I thought he said he was bussing tables.
He's busting tables.
Oh.
Cleaning, busting and bubbing.
I'm just glad he's got something underneath his skirt. He told me he was Scottish. I didn't know what we were going to get into.
Man, Mike, how's
Got
it going?
to see this, buddy.
Let's see this. Right
No
here. Right
ifs, ands, or buts. This was made and given to me tonight by Roger Sterling. I had no idea. Look at that. The original white Outlaw in its toter tires. It's got the axles, the tires to go with it.
Look at that.
That is so
And then-
cool.
And this is the replica trailer.
That is the replica trailer and the Ford truck that we used to pull it with.
So you guys are Ford.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, 100%. But isn't that cool? I mean, that was given to me tonight by Roger Sterling. I cannot thank him enough. That is for sure.
How you been, Mike? I haven't talked to you for a good while.
Sin-
I talked to you on the phone.
I was going to say, wait a minute. We talk every now and then. No, just staying busy with work and machinery. And
You look great, Mike. By the
Remember,
way.
I feel good. Weigh 220 pounds now. Lost weight, kept it off. Because, you never can tell when, Roger and Kathy, hint, hint, call me again to drive bootlegger. So, and always willing for any independent to call me. And maybe I might have an in with some guy I know with the Hall Brothers racing team. Because I was already confronted over there. And he says, Mike, we're going to get with you for shows next year that you're going to have to do with us. That's why I don't know which ones I can do with. And Tim said, you're doing them all. He said, you're getting your credentials. He said, you have no excuse. So you might be stuck with me for a little bit, Cheech.
I don't care. Man, I've been trying to get him on, on a Tuesday and stuff like that, but he's always working all the time. I call him all the time to see what's going on, check up on you. And funny thing, your wife comes over and she's like, I was like, I gotta use the restroom. And she's like, you want something to drink? No.
That's what she goes. She goes, Cheech, keep staring at me. I said, get over there and sit down. Just start talking. She goes, oh, no.
I saw her taking a little camera out. And I was
Well,
like,
she was taking a picture
Yeah.
of you. She said, oh, I want a picture of him so bad on his podcast. And then we liked your shirt.
Oh, thank you.
This is the first I've seen this.
Oh, yeah.
Usually I'm used to seeing him boxer shorts or running around hotel, like that. But
Shenanigans.
I do like the shirt.
Oh, thank you very much. 6B Apparel.
I like that.
Thank you.
I like
Thank you. There's a new wave and everything like that. And
That's professional. That's cool.
thank you very much.
Maybe I can talk Tim Hall into getting me a crew shirt. If we're going to crew for the Hall Brothers, I should be able to get a crew shirt from the Hall Brothers.
Oh man, but still, speak about this building.
This is neat.
This
I
is
was
cool.
I was really happy with it, and definitely got to give a shout out Tracy Smart and Mark Warner. I got he's got the iPhone, and I could not video. Tracy Smart's in a retirement home now, can't get out, and he wanted me and my wife to come here and take pictures and videos. Well, I kept taking little 1-minute videos on my phone and trying to send it to him in a text. So Mark goes, I got an Apple phone. He said, FaceTime. You tell how old I am? I didn't know nothing about it. So Mark walked around, FaceTime everything to show Tracy Smart. So Tracy, the new building is amazing. It's fantastic. The people here sold out. I was told 300 people are coming tomorrow. It's
going to be sold out every year from now on. I promise you. Everybody has to come and visit this place. The history, I learned 2 new things tonight. So you never too
Do you
old to
ever
learn.
think that when you were just helping out Nick Rossi, the story, his episodes are on audio if you want to. I will try to get him on a video one soon.
He will.
But have you ever thought that you just helping Nick Rossi out, and that at one time, you're borrowing Jim Cramer's helmet, that will lead to now, a few months ago, you're driving a bootlegger monster truck?
No, isn't that unbelievable to go from the 80s to the Lee Springs? But I did drive a coil truck, the Equalizer, a couple times. So
You have raced for 5 decades then, right?
yes.
How do you think about that?
It is unbelievable. It's interesting because I learned a lot and I'm still learning a lot. But it's nice though. I'm still able to teach some of the newer guys coming up and all like that. They need to learn the old ways. Like you, look, I got to meet you when you were racing with Lindsey Wink, and me and you worked together. We became the best of friends. I call it the best of friends. And our friendship, it's never going to end.
One thing I always learned was in this involvement, learning something's a good day. And always learn about something. Every single time you're learning about something, no
I'll be
matter what.
60 years old next year. So look how long I've been in this, since I was 23 years old, and still going at it, still going strong, and don't plan on quitting.
So when you were driving bootlegger, was your interview game still on point?
Oh, the interview game was on point. This is what I got to bring up. Roger and Kathy, we get out, we're checking out the track in Hudsonville, Michigan. And I'm walking around, getting ready to race bootlegger that night. And Roger kept saying, "This is not Monster Jam. This is not Monster Jam, Mike. We just go out and do a good show. We come back. Wake up, Cheech. Wake up."
I've been doing this for almost 2 hours.
And he says, "This is not Monster Jam." He said, "We just go out, we put on a good show. We're at a fairgrounds." Well, we went out to the fair, and we're walking around the track with the first car I come up on. I'll send Cheech the picture. First car I come up on, I took a finger and started pointing to it real quick. It says, "Don't follow me. I do stupid stuff." So then I walked to the other end of the racetrack. They had dirt they used for the motocross, for the pulling trucks, everything else for the fairgrounds. So it's about 25 foot high. I walked up to the top of the hill up there, and Roger had no idea. I crawled up top, and I yelled down the bottom of the hill. I said, "Check it out, Roger. This is my freestyle." You ought to see the expression on his face. How would you like to own a truck and you have to pay for the parts, and Mike Wine says he's going to jump off a 25-foot hill with it?
Go for it, Mike. But still, how was it getting back in the saddle?
Never missed a beat. Never missed a beat. Yep, it was great. Yep, still got throttle rhythm, still got the smile on my face, and unbelievable. Little William, Guy Conley, just passed a month ago. Guy and his wife and William drove up from Cincinnati, and he had a T-shirt that he made me. It says, "I drove 389 miles to watch Mike Wine race monster trucks again." So he was at the show. I wore my backwards bob helmet, driving bootlegger. I let him wear my helmet, my Hans. We took pictures together. That's what made it all worthwhile. That's what I missed out of all this. I missed it because, I'm always with the Blue Crush Racing team. So BC O'Neill, always going to be with him. He's building his second truck. I'll have a freestyle truck coming up next year. Not too many people know that.
Right.
But the fans. I miss the fans. You know me, I miss talking. So, yeah. The driving part, the racing part, I'm never going to lose that. But with the fans, I don't want to lose that.
And Mike, we talk, how long? 2 hours on the phone sometimes, just talking about work?
Yes. Yes, we got to get together. We got to get the old guys together.
Yeah.
I mean, you would talk about me. Everybody should have been here at the Monster Truck Hall of Fame. You got Kid Rarick here tonight. I'm here. Gene Patterson's here. John and Heidi Moore's here. Dave Wyzorek is here. How often are you going to have all of us together like that again? Who knows? Maybe in the future. there'll be more of us together.
I did an episode with Scott Douglas. We talked about the TNT and how Kentucky and Owensboro and all that area has been so great in the monster truck history and stuff like that. And just knowing that you were part of the popularity, and Scott was talking about how they individualize. When I think about Law, I think about you.
Yes.
About Gravedigger, I think about Dennis, Gary, Caroline Fresher. How did you like that with the announcers and stuff like that? Talking about you more than sometimes the truck.
I enjoyed it because Army Armstrong, he was like talking to a family member. I mean, even Scott Douglas, you got to remember, I remember when Scott Douglas and everybody started. He started when we started. So even nowadays, even talking to Scott, it's like talking to a brother. They made it so easy. And they ask you the simple questions to get you started. And you know how shy and bashful I am. It takes a little bit to bring me out of my shell, So, I mean, that's where the phrase come from. I'm the innocent one.
Yeah.
So, but might not always start it, but definitely going to have maybe a little part in finishing it. But the part of history, starting out with the Jersey Outlaw, starting out with coming back to Monster Jam, and then going full circle, coming back to the Monster Truck Hall of Fame, and then still being able to play with monster trucks and mega trucks. I mean, that's a life dream. I never thought of this when I was 20 years old. 40 years later, I'd be sitting here on a camera and a TV, letting other people hear who would want to hear Mike Wine's stories.
And the cool thing is you brag about saying you have worked with the major three manufacturers in America. Ford, Chevy, and Ram. So
yes,
a lot of the guys at the shop, Kurt loves having you around just because you have done everything and you give them feedback. And I also love it too for myself and the crew guys learning from you about what to see and stuff like that. And when you have people with knowledgeability about the monster trucks and stuff like that, it gives a platform for help people raise up and also learn more about them too.
Yep. No, I enjoy working with Kurt. I enjoy getting on the radio with him, or sometimes everybody gets nervous, and I'll get up there and talk to him sometimes, and I'll say, Kurt, I've been there and done that before. Stranger danger. Oh, never mind, it's my wife. But I'll get on there with Kurt, and he'll get a little nervous about something. No. I said, I remember this in 1991. I remember this in 1988. Just take it a little bit slower and then heavier in the corners, and we'll talk. We communicate with each other. He calms down, and it makes for a better race, a better show. And I enjoy working with the Hall Brothers Racing Team. I enjoy working with all the teams. It's just so fantastic.
And also seeing them entering.
Oh, I just told Tim, I am so proud of him and Mark. It's an honor. As long as he's been in it, he's still in it. He's devoted his life, his family, everything in it. This has been 3/4 of my life, Cheech. 3/4 of my life has been with monster trucks. Being Independence, being TNT days, being Monster Jam, and continuing now. It's been a part of my life. I'm very proud of him. Very proud. Got a lot of respect for him. And it's an honor to be here.
It sounds like that.
Watch
a
my
lot of
friends
people.
get inducted.
Yeah, it sounds like that. A very few amount of people that's there for a short period of time.
Yes.
But there's a lot of people I know that's been doing it for 20 plus years.
Yes.
And still enjoy what's going on.
Yes.
Every job and everything has a dark side, and but
It's like a marriage. You're together for so long. Sooner or later, you're going to snap at each other. Same way with monster trucks. Different crew guys, different people. But you're thrown into so many different situations. You're gone. I can remember I used to leave the day after Christmas. I would leave the house. Sometimes the weekend before Christmas and be gone 3 to 4 months. So yeah, every now and then you'd snap at each other, but it's still a family. Like you got Chris Fryman, you got Paulie Dude, you got other people. Bucky. I mean, I left Bucky at a gas station one time. I ran out of gas. We were going four-wheeling, went to a gas station, borrowed a gas can with gas in it, and got in my camper to go back to my truck. Bucky walked out from going to the bathroom. Bucky had to stay there and wait till I got back. I left him as a deposit for the gas can. That is the God's honest truth. You need to ask Bucky about that.
Oh, Bucky, I got a text message to you about that, man.
Yes, you do.
Oh my gosh.
But we're family.
Yeah.
We're family.
I learned so much from those guys too. I did, and I lighting up my eyes when I found out that, it came from, they knew you. See, I knew them separate, and then when I, we did the Monster Jam season there, I didn't know that you guys were connected to each other. And I thought that was awesome.
Oh, yes. Bucky, after a while, Bucky said, I hated you. You got me into this. I hate you. But here's another great thing. Imagine what this is going to be like in August. Third week of August. It's me, Fry Daddy, and Paulie Dude are driving from Cincinnati, driving to Alaska. We're going to be gone 2.5 weeks on the road together.
Get me a bear.
How would you like to be with us on the road for 2.5 weeks?
Like
stories that's going to be said.
Are you guys all going to be CBs?
Oh, yes. Oh, Lord, yes. If I don't talk, I'll explode.
Mike, man, it's...
Cheech, it's been an honor, always. Looking forward to seeing you this weekend.
Yeah.
And you already sent me the schedule of your show, so a lot of you's going to see me be with Cheech next year at a lot of shows for the Hall Brothers.
Yep, I'm excited about that. I'm ready to learn a lot from you.
Thank you, buddy.
Don't forget your toy.
Oh, I'll never forget my toy.
And also, we're gonna have Mr. Christopher Allen. A lot of you guys know him. He's a historian for the Hall of Fame, but he also did a time for the Monster Cast for the history portion of it, which I think I'm going to steal him, and he's probably going to do something for Touch This. If you're willing to do that, you're okay with that, right?
Yep. And the bigger problem, if it was a problem, speaking to Cameron McGuess about that, but I'm on good terms with him. So any problems with him is purely made by himself. By the way, am I at a good distance here?
You're sounding good. I hear you loud and clear. How was the trip from living in Arizona to moving to Indiana?
It was just as much a big difference as they say. Right? And those of you watching this right now, I'm like, well, Christopher, are you crazy? And yeah, well, I do call people around us. I do call them nutheads for a reason. It's a term of endearment, though, and and yes, that remains. Most of you know me for having a encyclopedic memory about this sport, and for that reason, so many people have told me that I fit this job like a custom-made glove, and some are calling me a flag bearer for old school. I'm a little hesitant about that. I'd rather be a flag bearer for the sport in general, past and present. But it's my hope. So flag bearer for just old school or not, it's my hope that one day, sometime, I could actually become the flag bearer that people say that I am.
A person that bears the name and good representation. You know what I mean? So how do you compare? You've been to every single Hall of Fame, I think, right? Correct?
Yes.
From the beginning to now.
So sorry to interrupt, but including one being the fortunate few to be invited to the live stream virtual Hall of Fame.
All right.
Last year.
So give me your feedback on the progression from the first to now, because you've done it all, and how crazy it is. How it grew.
Oh yes.
How proud are you?
I am immensely proud. And I'm from the very first Hall of Fame, that very first year. And I hoped for this place to have a very own place all to itself. Now, for the benefit of people watching this right now, I have absolutely no problem, grudges, or beefs with the Cruz Plaza people, and I feel that I have no reason to. The fact matter remains that if it weren't for them, we wouldn't exist now, plain and simple. And
thank you.
And the other fact of the matter is, it is there where we found our footing and first became popular. Some people watching this may not know this, but the 2019 Hall of Fame ceremony, our final in-person ceremony at our old place, was our very first one to be sold out. And and to me, and me, I've always felt for a long time that this Hall of Fame, this museum, wherever it's located, has played a not so small part in this old school resurgence. Because people remember a lot of the groups and friends with the right people on social media. You'll find there are more old school monster trucks in the building pipeline than ever before. And also the giant nationwide fandom where people search down, buy and collect old school memorabilia. That fandom continues to grow, and honestly, Cheech, I hope you wouldn't mind some little insider info. Okay.
Go ahead.
Again, well, that it's let at some point down in the future. Now, this is all. We don't have an official date for this yet. It's on. Don't get me wrong, but we don't have an official date. Watch the museum website, Facebook page for official date announcement. But something I am super proud of is we're gonna have in the future the Monster Truck Merchandise Expo. And what is it going to be? Some of you people have seen videos for the Hall of Fame, previous Hall of Fames that we have people put out tables and they display their collections. Well, as not a replacement but a continuation of that, not only people book a table for a fee, and also have the collectors have a buy-sell trade factor among each other. And I mean, it works all the time at sci-fi conventions, at comic conventions. So as far as I'm concerned, if it'll work for them, it'll work for us. And I'm about 99.5% sure there has never been that kind of event in the monster truck world. And it hasn't happened yet. Yeah, but still, I am so proud to be the creator of that event. By the way, folks, yes, you heard that right. Yes, you did. And I dreamed it up, and I went on my laptop and created it into a business plan-ish type of thing. I presented Jeff last year when I'm up here for the virtual Hall of Fame. And he's all, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Man, Chris, well, time to actually close the show up, and I got a few minutes left, but thank you so much. I'll get a full episode on you too. So I'll message you.
Okay,
sounds
great.
And then maybe we can do maybe an episode like how they did with the Monster Cast with my guest, and I'll tell you who the guest is, and then us a little bit. What was the program?
Monster Cast.
Yeah, but your section of the.
It was known as Monster Truck Fact of the Week.
There we go.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cam. You haven't had an episode for almost 2 years, so. A year, I think. So we're taking over.
Yeah, unless you count the holiday special.
Yeah.
Still, I would be shocked if you guys have had a grand total of 0 guests that Monster Cast has or has not, and vice versa. So, and besides, gotta have both them. Both you and Monster Cast. The more the merrier.
Kind of be like TNN and ESPN,
yes.
These have the same program, but Army Armstrong did both of them, right?
Yes, he did.
That's awesome.
Yes, and I sure hope I was a good enough guest to close out this episode.
Hey, you are.
I've got my wine right in front of me, and saw you had a couple others, so I felt like it's a pretty giant shoes to fill.
You did a good job.
Yeah, but by the way, excuse me, I almost forgot. Yes, I am single, girls.
Well, hopefully we have females to watch this, but
Life throws you surprises, Cheech.
Yeah, I know. I found out too that this number right here doesn't mean a lot of things, because I find out a lot of people are watching. But thank you for all the likes, subscriptions. Also, thank you for all the likes and stuff on iTunes. 30 years of Snake Butt. The little sticker and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
before anyone asks, yes, I know Kurt Copperhead, but I have never seen him without his mask, so don't bother asking me.
All right, 10-4.
Even if I knew, I probably couldn't say anyway, because the whole snake bite mystery thing. Okay.
Awesome. But, hey, guys, thank you to all the sponsors, High Octane Coffee, J Concepts, JB Scale Graphics. Also, Justin Stories in his book. Go check that out, too. I'll do more later on that one. Back Channel Productions, he's actually down there. I'll say hi to him later. And 6B Apparel, they have these crew shirts. Pretty cool to watch and take a look. $100 a pop. Go see me or Brad for that stuff. But next week, I'll let you go about the guest. He's actually creating the Bigfoot Ranger. So I think that's been pretty cool. But I got a lot of product coming on. So once again, guys, I'm going to let this close up and mingle for a little bit, because I've been mingling all day sitting here, but take a look at this awesome museum. And like I said, and like Brad said, keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up. Good night, and have a good one. By the way,
Trucks forever.
Monster Trucks forever. By the way, if we get about 20 likes on this, I'm going to put this on audio. So do that. All right. Later, guys. Take care.